Hello and welcome to episode 350
Woo!
of the Destiny Community Podcast. One where we apologize for, the message we put out wasn't the message that you guys wanted to hear. We didn't listen to the community feedback, and, we're going to change. We got some changes in the pipeline.
I see we're starting on a really spicy note. 0 to 100, straight in.
That's great. Well, it's like the opposite of 2 weeks ago when they were like, it's 15 minutes into the podcast. They haven't even mentioned Destiny once.
Wait, Destiny? Oh, I thought this was side quest. I thought we were going to talk about old video games today. Yeah, so what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Oh, Mylan, I heard you got your ass beat today. How'd that go?
Yep, really fun. I completed some of the GCX incentives that we said. I think, what was it, 20,000? At 20,000, I said I'd do an in real live jiu-jitsu stream. And obviously we hit that because we got to, 53,000?
Things are kind of hazy from that night. There was a lot of donuts going on.
There was a lot of bean boozles. I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling pretty ill after that stream.
You're not alone there.
So kind of cool. I'll be able to bring this up for you.
Let's see it.
At the gym, rolling with Coach. People showed up. It was nice doing it in real live stream because obviously we got the podcast at 9 o'clock my time, and I usually start at 7. So I usually just goof around on Fridays until we have the podcast. So it was kind of cool to just go and do a wrestle. Chat was really well behaved. I think there was a lot of like dick twist comments, but
like in favor of or against?
I'm gonna guess against.
Really? I'm gonna guess in favor of.
I was
think
gonna
so?
guess they were dropping donuts, hoping it happened.
Yeah.
What do you think, Hobbits? Were you guys were you rooting for Mylan with the dick twist or against Mylan with the dick twist?
Luckily, I've got a natural immunity to the dick twist. Size.
I want to know more about this. Please go on.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think we'd actually do a bit more. I think that's kind of the cool thing about these charity incentives. You don't know, forces you out of your comfort zone, I guess, to try something different. Like Watts is probably going to pop off in League of Legends because that hasn't happened yet, has it?
Totally. No, it hasn't happened yet. The Titans
number one
happened,
League of Legends streamer, and then
Yeah, that's right.
there you go.
I'm gonna do the Elden Ring one too.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
You're
forward
gonna
to
love
the
Elden
kayak.
Ring.
The kayak review.
Yeah,
The kayak whiskey review. I think is going to be fun. But
Yep.
Elden Ring is a treat. Honestly, like that's
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never played a single Soulsborne game in my life.
Yeah, but you've been loving Remnant too, so this has been.
Yeah, getting my feet wet into that sort of genre has been the Remnant grind, and I did not expect to like it, and I love it. I'm hooked. I can't stop playing that game. So
Remnant is one of my favorite games already. Remnant 2 is just spectacular.
So good.
It really is.
Good.
And Elden Ring will probably blow your socks off. It obviously is not like a third-person shooter like Remnant, but it has a lot of the same elements of discovery and walking off the track and ooh ah, and then 3 hours later you're in some plot line with a pot friend.
Oh yeah, pot friend, Mylan.
Yeah,
who's got a pot friend, Mylan? Not you damn murderer.
Not me. I did a lot of killing, and I ended a lot of NPC quests very early by killing.
That tracks.
Which, by the way, people get very, very angry. If you want to increase engagement,
It's good to
straight
know.
up
Who's this
murder.
guy? I don't know. I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yeah. So I mean, it's perfect time for us. We're all becoming variety streamers. Perfect because of GCX.
I gotta say, I have more viewers sitting in a queue for Wayfinders than playing Destiny.
Yeah.
How was that? How was Wayfinders this morning? This afternoon?
Yeah, so Wayfinders launched into early access today. It is going to be free to play when it officially comes out, but you can pay $20 to gain access now and get the first season pass. So it's actually not a bad deal. And servers are not having a good time.
What kind of game is it? I don't even.
bad.
I'm not familiar.
It's
MMO,
like an
right?
MMO. It's an MMO light. I would say it's similar to how Destiny is an MMO, where you can group up with other people and do stuff. But yeah, it's an action RPG, third person fantasy type of game.
Because the combats are probably a little bit more akin to, it's like New World, a little bit like hack and slash rather than like
Kinda.
tab targeting kind of deal, right?
Yeah, it's not tab targeting. It's not like, hotkey pressing, waiting for cooldowns. It's more
Yeah,
action based.
yeah. Which I think is probably the appeal of it, right? That's like its
Yeah.
gimmick, I guess.
I actually
Rather
managed to
than
get in. So people were sitting in queues for like 3 hours. I load up, I see people were like, "Oh, I'm getting in, I'm getting in, I'm getting in." I'm like, "Okay, let me just try." I get in right away, get to select a character, do the tutorial. Everyone's like, "How did you get in? What's going on?" We have to ban people because they were
Streamer
being mean.
perks.
really, it got that
People were
bad.
being mean.
Yeah,
I
people get
believe you.
mad. But I got into the tutorial. I was able to complete the tutorial, but during the tutorial, I got disconnected from the server. So I was in a weird state of like, I can press the button to proceed to the actual post tutorial, but I'm not actually connected to the server. So I ended up just closing it out and trying to get in a queue, which I never got in. So that was my experience. Was I played the tutorial,
Mm,
I tried one character.
Was this day one?
Oh, here I am. Yeah,
yeah,
it came out today.
Oh,
early
okay.
access.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
Early
I
access.
mean, I played 70 minutes of the closed beta. That's all I got access to. And I think I picked the same class as you, the rogue or whatever that one
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
And I think I got through the tutorial, so it didn't really get any hooks in yet for like what I was doing. It was just kind of like, I see what's going on. it's a MMO light with like almost like a Fortnite-y, cartoony kind of vibe.
Yeah, I really
With
like the art style. The art style is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
mm, mm.
And they have some
Yeah.
pretty big plans for updating the game season to season. So we'll see how it ends up when people can actually get in.
I haven't even heard about like what the end game is. Is there like raids and stuff or dungeons or whatever the
They
equivalent
said they
would
want to
be?
add raids that will be
Okay,
more than 3 players, which is currently it's 3 players for dungeons and stuff.
Okay.
right.
So yeah, they have the plan for raids.
Cool.
Okay, I'll check it out.
that's kind of a neat looking game. I'm not gonna play it because I'm afraid of MMOs, but it does look kind of neat.
Right.
It
It's a great
terrified me.
time. It's a great time to get for Destiny players looking for someone else.
I mean, there's
It's
so
fair.
many games. My backlog. I mean, I have games that
Yeah.
are sealed still that I've bought, and I just haven't like stuck into a PlayStation or whatever. Like I just finally started playing Final Fantasy 16 yesterday, and that came out what 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
A while
June.
ago, yeah.
Anywho, Joe Blackburn got on Twitter.
He did.
Huge.
Huge. Put out a video just
Sure
talking
did.
man to man, human to
Yeah.
human, which
That's
was
pretty wild.
it actually is really wild.
The game the game director just posting an unedited, sit down and chat face to face like that is pretty unheard of for a studio that size.
I felt it
Yeah.
was the right move. Honestly,
It
felt
was.
like it was
Definitely.
something of a gesture of this nature. I felt like was necessary. Not only did it kind of humanize the studio in a way that I thought was pretty welcome right now, but he also kind of
Needed,
came out
yeah.
and said, "Hey, we get it. Like we kind of messed up with the what did they call that last communication?
State of the game.
State of the
State of the
game.
game.
Like
Yeah.
he explained what kind of went wrong with the creation of the state of the game as a post, but also said, hey, that's no excuse. We're going to, and it basically listed off a bunch of things they're going to change based on feedback. And for the most part,
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty I was pretty happy with what they're going to change.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the
Yes.
general sentiment is much more positive than negative. As in the PvP community, I mean, you're always going to get the people who are like, I don't believe a word they say. But for the most part, I think most people are like, that it feels really good to at least just hear them acknowledge it,
Yeah.
instead of pretending like the problem doesn't exist, but just to come out, because it's kind of what they do with the state of the game. They're like, what we hear you guys saying is this, and then they basically say the opposite. We can't do that. We're not going to do that. We're not geared up to do that. and didn't even acknowledge that it was an actual problem at all. So to hear them actually acknowledge it, I think that'll go a long way in helping people feel like they can trust Bungie to make the changes they said they were going to make. The timeline is really where people are kind of guessing, like, well, what are we talking for these map packs? Because that's one of the things, if you didn't watch the video, one of the things they're talking about is like dropping one map a year is not changing Crucible, and then that one map has to carry all the weight.
Yeah.
When it used to be, you'd get 5, sometimes 7 maps drop at a single time every year.
Yeah.
And they don't have to carry that much weight. It's just a ton of new maps, and they can be, some of them good, some of them suck. But, it's a bunch of new places to play on. That's great. But if your one map doesn't do well and you're only doing one map a year, aka Disjunction.
And you've got to create that map for all game modes because you're only
That's
doing
right.
All
one.
modes. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. So, but people are then speculating then if they didn't say we're doing map packs in the state of the game, and then a couple weeks later they say we're doing map packs, does that mean we're just now starting to get the ball rolling? Because
Yeah.
It sounds
kind of
like
what it
because
sounds like. So it's gotta be a while.
well,
Yeah,
he
for
he
sure.
We know
said
it's
it
next
was
year.
he said next year,
telling
and
you.
he said
Mhm.
this was outside of our like pipeline and strategy, so this is going to take some time. So this was in response to the state of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
He said they're creating like a PvP strike team, right? To like
Yeah.
Yeah.
get on this.
That was actually, in my opinion, the biggest news because he was saying that, this is a team that's, you got to think of it as kind of like an emergency team who you get to cut out a lot of the yellow tape, right? Because they're going directly to Joe
To
with like,
Joe.
hey, this is what I want to do. And Joe says yay or nay. It's not having to go through a bunch of things. And they're only working on PvP. They're grabbing a bunch of devs who love Crucible and want to do Crucible stuff, and they're putting them on a team specifically to get content out for Crucible ASAP. And they're going to be communicating to us the things that they're planning on doing before they even start working on it. So that was huge news because even when we've had, I don't think we've had a Crucible team for many, many years, but this is even
You don't
more
think there's
than
been
that.
one at all?
Well, there's obviously been a
I mean,
Crucible team, but not something that this sounds like it is focusing on community feedback and a really quick pipeline to be responsive to what's
Yes.
happening in the game rather than Bungie planning a whole bunch of content and sort of being on this track and then it maybe not and then not being able to respond to stuff not working in the Crucible, I guess. That was how I interpreted it anyway.
Yeah, we definitely haven't had a Crucible team for a really long time. The people who've been working on like trials has been the rituals team. So they're in control of all
Oh.
rituals, just like when they were talking about in the state of the game about making maps. They're like, well, we don't have people who make Crucible maps. We have the lighting guy who works on lighting for all of the game and
Yeah.
the designers who
Okay,
work on
yeah.
everything. So this is a team that is specifically for PvP. Because even Sandbox team does both, right? They bounce PvE, they bounce PvP. They're in
Yeah.
control of both. But this is, a team that is dedicated specifically for Crucible,
Well,
which is
I hope
the
this
biggest
turns
news for
into
any
like a
PvP player.
permanent team.
Well,
Hope so.
look, I think like I'm on the side of I'm glad it sounds like they're listening. It sounds like they're putting things into action, but I would also like to play devil's advocate and like represent people who are still like critical and maybe cynical and probably a little bit jaded. And I think there is some of that discussion where people are like, well, why did it take so long to do this? Like PvP's been in a pretty horrendous state. Like, why is it always like the house is burning down before something changes? And it kind of feels like Forsaken 2.0. So I do think there are a group of people waiting to see, like, if this is successful, are there going to be continued map packs? Is the strike team going to stay around, or is this just like putting a band-aid on it, like, hey, you can trust, and then like it's going to go away again? So I think for me, I'm definitely in that boat. Like, I'm really excited to see what happens, and I think like I would really love to see that this strike team stays around and that it keeps Crucible in a healthier place, and that there are consistent map packs, because I do think it's good for the health of the game in general. So, I definitely hear people are on that critical side too,
Sure.
and just wanted to like acknowledge that sort of voice.
We've definitely seen that from Bungie in the past, right? Is like they've made a promise, they've come through on it
Yeah.
short term, but the long
Right.
term it has not like sustained.
Yeah.
That kind of circles back to some of the stuff Joe said too. He's like, specifically when he's talking about armor, he's like, so that's something that we haven't done great is communicate when our vision changes.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, because our vision changed with armor, we decided, hey, people aren't using the ritual stuff. Let's just can that for now. Let's spend more time making sure that our loot that's tied to endgame activities are just like friggin' phenomenal. And
Yeah.
to their credit, like they did that very well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like the dungeon
Mhm.
armor from Ghost of the Deep, the cowboy sets, all that just exceptional.
And
Even if
and
you
the
don't,
narrative armor too. Like
yeah,
the story
exactly.
armor and the season pass armor have all
Yeah,
been
so to their credit,
really
they
good.
did that just a fantastic job of that. But like he said, they failed to communicate that change in their vision, and so it led people to then assume that they just dropped ritual armor and didn't replace it with anything, right? It was just like, oh, let's just can this, even though we said we were going to do
Yeah.
it.
You can kind of see their perspective. Like when you get that top view, you
Sure.
can see where their mind went with like grouping the armor sets like aspirational, paid armor, narrative
Right.
armor, ritual armor. You can see like where their thinking was. And I think the critical side is I think it missed the consumer point of view. Like these are all paid sections, like dungeon keys, dungeons, narrative, campaigns, season passes. And I think that was probably the bit that was missed. And obviously, like the ratio of stuff that's paid for versus earned, even though he didn't mention it, like they're taking a set out of is it season 22? They're taking a set out of
Next season,
Eververse.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're gonna put it into make it the ritual armor, which is what happened in Forsaken, or was Prophecy came with Forsaken, or was that another time? Whatever the Prophecy dungeon was, that was from Eververse and got put into the Prophecy dungeon.
The Dido
That's why it's
set,
like, yeah, that's why it's
Yeah.
like Dado set, in Prophecy dungeons. So it's like
which looks
thematically,
great, by the way.
it looks great. Like it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite armor sets, to be honest. Like, it looks really cool. So once again, like there is a group of people that's like, well, this is you can't acknowledge this is the right thing to do. Are we gonna reset to like everything being back in Eververse again? Or like it would be nice for some of these changes to continue. Like, hey, maybe this is the ratio of paid silver stuff compared to ritual armor. Like it kind of would be nice for it to be in there. Like, can we keep getting that kind of ritual set quality? Or is it going to sort of reset once everyone sort of calms down?
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
guessing-
see.
I'm guessing the latter.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I think people who are in the latter, like obviously wait and see. And personally, I think in general, there's a lot of people just fatigued with Destiny. This is probably time to move on as well, right? Like if you're in that like jaded, like nah, I've had enough. You've made too many promises. We're coming up to a decade now. Like yeah, maybe it is time to leave. But there's also a lot of people that are excited about the changes, and this is enough to keep them around as well.
The language
I-
that he used when he was talking about the Crucible seemed like this is a long-term change. The language he used around taking one armor set out of Eververse and adding it to like a rewards
It was a bit
program.
short term. Yeah, you're
It
right.
seemed
Yeah.
like that was a
Yeah.
one-time deal. Like this is
Yeah.
Yeah. it
hey,
does.
we're sorry, this one's on us kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that for at least for me as a PvP player who I'm definitely in the frame of mind where it's like if I'm having fun with Destiny, I'm going to play it. If I'm not having
Yeah.
as much fun with Destiny, I'm going to play something else. And we went from the state of game kind of feeling like Crucible is being kind of phased out. We'll just keep it around. We'll do sandbox changes, and that's all we're really doing. To them saying we are making a dedicated team that's only going to talk to me and you guys to make stuff as soon as
Yeah.
possible is a pretty big shift.
That's a huge
And
No doubt.
so,
Yeah.
as a PvP player, hearing that, I'm like, okay, that's exciting because it doesn't mean that Crucible is not important. Clearly, it is important. And half the player base, in terms of numbers, it's like half and half with PvE and PvP.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a thing that made me
Yeah.
feel good about sticking around in Destiny. And Joe's going to be streaming.
yeah.
Oh,
He is going to be doing streams.
what do you think of that?
So
I think
I
it's a bad idea.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
I think so. I've seen other pretty important devs do stuff like this. Like as a guy who works at Riot who makes champions who started streaming, and the initial few streams are like very crazy, right? Like lots of
Yeah.
people in there, lots of trolling. But then as it keeps going, it ends up just being a really good place to just have a conversation directly with a developer. So I'm sure initially
That's a
there's
good
going to be
point.
people who want to go in there and just like be an asshole,
Yeah.
but eventually it will be a really good place for him to just talk to people cuz Joe does play
Yeah.
a lot of Destiny. I'm sure he's not playing a lot
Yeah.
right now cuz they're really busy, but he's always done LFG. People know who he is when he does LFG. He does LFG more than like most people I know. So he's always kind of been upfront talking to players and playing with other community people.
I
So I
I
think
l-
he's a
I,
good
lo-
person for it.
I love how his mindset to come to the decision of streaming is literally every streamer ever, which is I don't have time, but I'm playing the game. I might as well stream it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've got no other time to do anything else, but I'm in the game anyway. Might as well press go live. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good point, was because in my head I was like, if this is just like kind of need to commit to it and it needs to be regular because
Yeah, it
any
does.
streamer's done anything, like you need to build your base of good people and good vibes. And then after you've got that, everything else will start filtering out. But if you do it a couple times,
Yeah.
it's just going to be massive trolls, massive racism, massive homophobic bullshit.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, they're going to have to just keep cleaning out all that garbage until you get,
Even if
your
they do it
people hanging
regularly,
around.
but only once a month, it's going to be like that, right? It's only going to
Right,
work if it's
exactly. It kind of, so I don't know how much he can commit to doing those
Right.
streams. And I think to get the right vibe in a Twitch chat, you kind of need to be doing it pretty regular, which is why streamers are on every day. So be interesting to see how it works out.
yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Remember when Bungie actually set up a Twitch studio, like
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
in their
Like a
studio?
live stream studio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
streaming a lot at one point, and I don't really know why
They
that
they
stopped.
did like was it ride-alongs, or they did, I can't remember.
This was
Yeah, they
kind of
did
after that,
ride-alongs
though.
and like sandbox talk with people as well. Like I'm sure if they were still doing it when a big weapons update like the one we got this week happened, they'd bring devs in to talk about it. And I would love to see them do that again, whether it's through them going, I know they've kind of done it with podcasts and stuff, but I think it would be cool when something is so numbers heavy and graphs heavy for a dev to come on and be like, "Hey, this is what it means in layman's
Sure.
terms."
Offer that internal insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Translate it a bit.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
I'd like to see them do that again. I understand why there's probably a lot of devs that don't want to be in the
Oh, yeah.
spotlight and be under fire.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, just shout out to Joe for being willing to do that because it
Yeah,
has
put
been
himself out there.
scary
Yeah, it's a major
recently.
risk.
And
Yeah, he obviously cares about all the people that work at Bungie, because he's
Oh,
pretty
for
much
sure.
put himself in the line of fire, really. Like, he doesn't want any of his employees to take the heat. So he's like, well, I'm gonna do this Twitter video and I'm gonna
That's
do a
stand up.
live
Yeah.
stream and basically filter it through me. And that's like, that is a pretty big deal.
Like,
And I think it shows to his character.
for people who don't know, like maybe we have listeners that aren't like following this stuff like on Twitter or like wherever it happens, but there was an incident. I actually don't know the details of this incident. I just know that like one of the community managers was, I believe, like somebody found their address and showed up
he
at
was
their door,
doxxed. Yeah.
and like
Well, they sent pizza to them to show that they know where they live,
Oh, okay.
basically, as
Okay.
a threat, as like a veiled threat, like, hey, I know where you live. I sent you pizza. Enjoying the pizza,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
which not only puts the dev and the community manager, like, makes them feel uncomfortable, but you got a family and now they feel in danger, right? Because you work
Yeah.
on a fucking video game that's supposed to be for
Yep.
fun, you assholes.
And the thing is, like, obviously streamers get it, but when you go to Bungie and you've got millions of people that play a game, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you need to understand that, yeah, there's 0.5% of people that are just absolutely tapped in the head, and that's enough.
It just
well,
needs to
yeah.
be one person,
It
right?
only
It's
takes
just
one
person is enough. Do
crazy
you know what I
person
mean?
who's like,
And
I'm
the
gonna
more-
kill you and here's your address. Like, it's
Do you know
one
what I
guy.
mean? So, when that's why I feel, I don't know how I feel about the streams. I actually think if he did more of those Twitter videos, if that worked for him to
Yeah.
just do that, like, I just think that was very effective. He can have his notes, he can stay
Okay.
on tack, and to do that regularly, I think that is actually a really good way of them solving the the issue they're having with communication, which is their devs were in danger, so they had to pull back. And there was a negative impact by going to the Destiny 2 teams. Like people didn't feel connected to
Yeah.
the studio, and it actually did change how people felt. And then you got the state of the game, which was like the perfect storm of like this feels so corporate and businessy, and they're not listening. And that's why
Yeah.
Joe's address really
and
had
I
weight.
I do kind of like one of the things he mentioned was that we're going to ramp up communication and we're going to make sure that it's not like you're saying corporate. It's more personal,
Yeah.
infused with personality, but it's going to come from branded accounts so that you
Yeah.
don't know who's the man or the woman behind the tweet, in the comments. So
Right.
I think that's a really good move. It's a good way to keep that communication open and have a little transparency and even allow it to feel a little more personal and jovial at times and playful. Kind of like, is it Elliot that does a lot of
Elliot,
comedy
yeah.
stuff from
Yeah.
and sometimes you can see his personality shine through and it makes for those tweets to be pretty fun. So I think that's a good move too, to keep people protected but also allow those lines to stay open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was essentially it's all positive of what he said. The big takeaway from me was definitely the teams thing because that is an emergency team, a big deal. They can get a lot done quickly. The rest of the stuff is, yeah, I think you're totally fine to be like, I'm gonna wait and see how this actually pans out. But yeah, the immediate stuff, getting an Eververse set next season that you're gonna be able to earn, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the team, and they're doing a map pack. I don't know if we'll ever get any maps ever again after the map pack, but it will be a big injection
Honestly,
all at
I
once.
just hope it pops off. I hope Crucible comes back to life. I hope there's maps and modes because I really do believe that Destiny fills a gap in PvP in the gaming space that no other game does at the moment, and
Yeah.
it'd be really cool to see that as something that just keeps going.
Thrives, yeah, not just
Yeah,
survives, not just getting dragged along behind the car,
yeah,
but yeah, actually
yeah,
thriving. Because we've
yeah,
seen when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the
And
way that the Destiny community can really come alive when PvP is really heavily invested in is just a great thing to see. Some of my favorite moments in Destiny's
yeah.
history.
And surely
And
it makes sense going, because you probably have another year before Marathon. Like, surely it makes sense to have a healthy Crucible in Destiny prior to the launch of Marathon, a PvP only game. Like, it would be nice for that to be like, oh, it would make sense for
yeah.
people to have a bit more trust in Bungie making PvP stuff
So that's my
leading
question
into
to
the
you
release
guys
of a PvP
actually
game.
is what do you think caused this kind of I don't know what to call it. This tweet.
Separation from PvP.
No, this tweet. This Joe Blackburn kind of like coming
State
on
of the
and
game.
yeah. What do you
Yeah,
think caused
it's
this?
just
Do you think it was like a vocal reaction to State of the Game? Do you think they saw numbers of people just like stop
Man.
playing the
You
game?
had like massive creators talking about this that don't even play Destiny. Like that's
Asmongold,
That's
how
true.
big
millions.
it
That
Yeah.
got
is true.
really, really big. So I would go out on a limb and say I bet it was Joe himself who was like, I'm not happy with this. Like the sentiment is clearly not good. I want to do something and speak to them about it. What can we do? What can I tell them? What kind of moves can we make to try and course correct this?
Yeah, obviously, I think there's like a threshold, probably in Joe's head and everyone's head, right, where
Yeah.
that this is like general backlash or general unhappiness, and then it's like
Right.
it obviously crosses that, and it's like, okay, we actually need to do
Oh,
something.
like
And I think,
non-gaming people are talking about how bad this
yeah,
is.
yeah, right. There's like probably a tick box of like, okay, like huge streamers like reacting to the state of the game and like the general population of gaming community is like, oh my god, did you see how Bungie killed PvP? I can't believe it. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah,
Oh, also worth noting that Joe did say that they're going to be putting modes into just quick play, which I know me and TV we were saying like they're spending all these resources and time on making modes for something that we're playing like one
Iron
week
Banner.
out of
yeah,
3
true.
months.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that they're doing that because they have actually made a good amount of new modes, but they're just not putting it into the regular playlist. But yeah, if I'm sitting there and I get a map pack that's got somewhere between 3 and 5 maps, I'd probably think. And then you've got all these modes that they've made in there, and it's rotating between all of that. Like, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I jumped back into Halo Infinite last night, and God, it felt good. Just like having rotating modes, and like Halo Infinite actually feels pretty good now.
Oh, Halo
I was like,
Infinite's
yeah.
always been a
"Ooh."
good
I've
PvP
heard.
game. Like when they're updating
Yeah.
it, they went a long time without updating it, but
Yeah. Well, actually, mouse and keyboard feels heaps better now too. Like
Does
it
it?
is heaps.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it is actually felt really good now. And I just kept thinking, we'll probably have this in Destiny in another year. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at all the modes like Infection, and then it was like King of the Hill, and it was like Slayer. I'm like, bro, this is the magic sauce. Where's this been?
Yeah, no
It's what
doubt.
these PvP needs. Yep. No,
And
well,
they
hold
have those
tight.
modes. They're just not in quick play, man. They're not in quick play. They're in labs. They're
What
in
I
Iron
had people
Banner.
push back. I was like, I can't wait for like mode rotation. Like even if I don't like a mode, who cares? I'll next match I'll be on to something I probably do like.
as
And
long as
someone's
it's
like,
short,
no.
as long as it's not 20 minutes long.
Yeah. They're only 10 minutes.
I
Right?
I do. There is a sentiment out there among PvP players that are like, I
Yeah, don't want
I
it, right?
don't. They're like, I don't care about all. My problem for a lot of people was like, my problem wasn't that they were making new modes and we couldn't play them in regular Crucible. My problem was that they were making modes to begin with. Like, what? That's not what our biggest pain points are. We like Control, we like Clash. They're timeless. You know, they've been around since way before Destiny existed. Your TDM and your zone control modes, and people just want to play Destiny, on those modes and just have Destiny feel good, and they want
Yeah.
the maps to rotate and the sandbox to feel good, but those modes
Yeah,
are
and the
timeless,
matchmaking, yeah.
and that's what Destiny is to them. So I totally understand that. Some people are like, I
Yeah.
don't want to play whatever Dominion and Rush Countdown or whatever it may be, all these other things. I don't care about all that stuff. I just want to play Destiny and have it feel good being Clash and
Yeah.
Control Supremacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand that too.
Yeah, I get it. We were like, can we just have a Control playlist for a very long time? So
Yeah.
I get it. I just think that if you're spending all of this, they've spent more time and resources for PvP for modes than anything, and they have so many that it's kind of just a waste to not use them.
Not have them somewhere.
Let me
yeah.
say, Countdown Rush that's in labs right now is actually pretty freaking fun. It's probably, though, I gotta say, it might be to do with the fact that there's no SBMM and there's no team-based
Bro,
matchmaking.
I never go into Crucible Labs because I don't know what mode it is.
It does, yeah, you have to actually, like, press on it for it to say what
Sure.
it's
Dude,
gonna
Open
be.
it up.
I
Yeah.
hover over it and I'm like,
You
meh.
can't hover, you
I
gotta press.
Well, you
I
bring
gotta
up
press the
an
button.
you bring up an interesting point. Are maps gonna be enough to make PvP feel good? Because that is
No.
one of the
Matchmaking.
biggest pain points for sure. I'm not underselling that. Like that's massive news if we're gonna start getting maps. But that is one of the major pain points. And the more dedicated PvPers have this feeling where it's like, okay, well, as long as your matchmaking system is designed to make sure that the people who play the game the least like it, and the people who play your game the most dislike it, then nothing's going to change. We're
Yeah.
still going to feel, like we're victims of the system. And so we're still going to
Yeah.
struggle with bad match quality.
I think match quality or matchmaking is exaggerated by low populations too, right? So map packs might indirectly affect that by just getting people back into the Crucible, so you're not literally versing the same people over and over.
I mean, to be fair, even when the population numbers are really good, SBMM is trying to force you to play. Like, for example, I remember a couple weeks ago, I came back to have a nice play session, and I ended up playing the same people that I'm always playing. I recognized the names of half the
Yeah.
people in these lobbies. Two of them were in my clan, and I just randomly matchmade. And it was during peak hours with great population numbers. But since SBMM is just trying to keep it consistently at or around your skill level, if you're playing in an outlier, player group of the top whatever it may be 2 3 1%, whatever it is, it's constantly just going to try and grab people there if they're online. So even though since the population numbers are big, that means there's more people that fall into your skill category online at that time. So
Yeah.
you're just not going to get a lot of skill
Yeah.
variation.
I just hope that when these map packs come in, they just relook at those nodes where you can select a mode where it's connection based, and you can select a mode that's SBMMM and get matches.
Well, hey, maybe this is a thing that the PvP strike team can kind of talk to us about because it's going to
Yeah,
involve matchmaking as well,
that would be
right?
great.
So it would be nice to kind of have that conversation of maybe we can have a middle ground. Like maybe you can protect the really really low, like protect outliers, but
Yeah.
Outlier protection, yes.
yep,
Yeah,
And
it'd be
then
great to
keep the
actually
rest muted.
hear some explanation on what they're seeing on their end and why they've doubled down on it in the past, or why they think
yeah,
it's working. Because
no doubt.
they've been
Yeah,
pretty like sort of dig their heels in when it comes to SMM, and I mean
I
a lot of
know.
games have. There's
they
been like
have. Yeah.
it's Call of Duty, it's Destiny, it's
Yeah.
Apex. Like it's kind of like when a workplace decides everyone needs to have sit-stand desks, and every CEO decides that every workplace needs open
That
plan sit-stand desks, and then it's like
just takes over.
no one uses them. Everyone sits down still.
Uh-huh. Well, and it's so funny you mention that because we have literally heard from Bungie before. Rewind a few years, they came out and publicly said, "We have found internally that skill-based matchmaking is not healthy for the quick play playlist, and so we are turning it off."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how we got there to begin with. Was they
It
openly
is.
said, "We found that it's not good." So it's like, well, what changed? And they won't say anything. They won't
Yeah.
communicate any internal data that would support the decision. They just pretend like
Do,
our whole skill-based matchmaking complaints don't exist.
do you know what's really funny? Side note, I've been playing a game called Dark and Darker, which is an extraction type of game.
Okay.
And basically I played 20 matches, didn't extract once, just getting absolutely pummeled. And I almost said out loud, "Why are you matching me with sweat lords?" And I was like, "Uh-oh." Uh-oh. No, it's okay. I should lose. I'm a blueberry. I'm new to the game. I should be getting
Oh, jeez.
So there needs to be something, but yeah, I would like that. Like, I think what's right. I think the strike team would. I think that's probably part of the component that hasn't been addressed as
Yeah.
well. Is some more communication on their vision for matchmaking, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a big thing, right? Matchmaking, sandbox, like those are big things outside of maps and
Yeah,
modes. They all have a
yeah,
big impact on
yeah,
PvP. So I'm hoping we can have a big talk about that.
Well, like
Yeah,
yeah.
apart from
Crucible
PvP.
Strike Team may
Oh, you go ahead if
come
you're staying on the
across
topic.
a Crucible Strike Team may come across these issues, right? It's like if there is a Crucible
Hopefully,
team,
yeah,
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah, yeah.
But
Oh,
aside from PvP, there was something that Joe mentioned in his opening remarks during that video that sounded pretty good to me from the PvE side of things, which kind of runs in contrast to how Lightfall shipped. But he talked about how when they do their reveal for the final shape here real soon, he's like, we really want it to feel rooted in the Destiny universe. We're not going to show like new systems and
yeah,
completely new motifs and all that stuff. It's going to feel like a familiar space. The final shape is to Destiny enthusiasts, which I think is like the opposite of what Lightfall was. Lightfall's like, we're going to a new planet with like a completely new palette in this cyberpunk world, these new characters, the Cloud Striders that you're never
new
going to care about
subclass.
anymore.
Yeah,
This new sub, and so it's like, and it wasn't very well received, generally speaking. So I was kind of
yeah,
excited about that. I really like some of the OG Destiny vibes and spaces and
Yeah.
art
Same.
style. And if they can just continue to deliver, on that experience, I think it'll feel more authentically like a Destiny conclusion.
yeah. I agree, and it sounds like a good plan. As much obviously I love Strand, and but you do see when Bungie goes in these different directions and has to add all these new things and new systems and loadouts, like the loadout system, like it does take resources away from other parts of the game. So it kind of makes sense that they're not shaking it up too much and sticking with hopefully a great story and like
Yeah.
conclusion to Light and Dark Saga, and what we got in Witch Queen, really. Like just
Yeah,
a,
Witch Queen was
a,
good and not that
a
long
good
ago.
a good campaign, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that Joe said in his video that the showcase has been recorded like a long time ago. They've had that recorded for a
Yeah.
while, but they're having a
Yeah.
post show where Joe is going to be there, and he was even asking for questions on that tweet where he's going to talk about more things in detail. So that's going to be the place that you're going to want to look for kind of conversations about things that are propping up right now. But the actual showcase, don't expect them to be like, so we've heard all your problems and here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like they've pre-recorded it. It's about, the content that's coming in the final shape. So yeah. But I'm happy that there's gonna be a post-show talk where he's gonna be answering questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
There are some other bits and pieces that Joe covered. I don't know how much detail you want to go into, but they're reworking the comp points
They are.
rewarded
Thank
to just
God.
make it more consistent and predictable, rather than like gaining 10 and then losing 300 or
Yeah, you can
whatever.
win like 5 games in a row and lose 1 game and lose all your progress, which should
Yeah.
never happen. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're also mixing in some more modes in comp, or more popular modes in comp,
And
or
they're canning Rift, right?
well,
That's
he
what it
used
sounded
Rift
like.
as an example that wasn't popular in comp, and said we're going to put things that you like better into comp. So sounded like they're going to take Rift out and put something else in. The anything else? Strike team, armor, comms, comp, modes to core playlist, map packs.
I think we hit all that, didn't we?
Yeah, showcase event they recorded a while ago. No new systems, and the thing we didn't mention is it's built for a wider audience, so they're not going to go into like super detail
Yeah,
of
here's a
buffs and
graph.
nerfs. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is obviously an advert for Final Shape and designed to hit the gaming community, not just Destiny players. So,
And it's gonna be hype. It always is. All of their
Yeah.
reveal stuff, even for their content that isn't very good, all their
Yeah.
all their teaser stuff is always bangers. Like that's
true.
gonna be awesome! I can't wait. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's really not. But
But it's always
they
hype.
always sell it.
Yeah,
those
They
are.
know how to sell it.
they do. They're great at it.
Yeah, that's all my notes I've got on Joe's message. So I don't think we missed anything, unless you guys have anything else.
No, the only other news we got this week was that lengthy twab about sandbox changes, and there's a lot there. Like it's all nitty gritty stuff, and I don't know if we want to get into the details of that or if that's something that folks are interested in.
Maybe before we jump over to that, I can talk about the last Veil containment until Watts gets back, if you like.
Oh, there was also
So
the teaser trailer.
Oh yeah, that was this morning, right?
Yeah.
Today. It was only 15 seconds.
Well.
I've only watched it once. But like I say, you can get a lot done in 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
Where's my son? Where's Leah gone?
It was a pretty intense 15 seconds though, because you get to see like basically our guardians like flying into the portal.
Yeah.
And we've already
Yeah,
seen a
that's
guardian
true.
fly into the portal, and it didn't go
So-
great. So clearly,
So how do we solve? Yeah,
We
how do
didn't
we
fly
solve that,
into the
Mylan?
portal.
Good point.
Well, I mean,
Any
we
predictions?
saw a. We've also saw they tweeted an image with Imaru, Savathun's ghost. So obviously, we're going to make contact with Imaru. We're obviously going to get information from Savathun and get some sort of narrative device, some sort of tech
a
device
key to
to-
open the door, right?
to protect us going through the portal, I guess, to not get ripped apart. Yeah, I haven't broken down the trailer because I didn't see much in there, so I'm not too sure if there's any theories flowing around about what might be happening. But yeah, it just looks like we find the tech to go through, and
It was just a little
I guess see
pre-hype
what's on the other
hype,
side.
you know, like hey, a little
Yeah.
taster of hey, this shit's coming. We're going in
I-
after.
I kind of
Hmm.
love when Joe was talking about armor He was like, and then you've got your basic B armor. That's like blues. So you're a nobody, kind of like the guy that it flew into the
They got
traveling portal.
chopped
It's
up.
like, oh man, don't do the guy dirty like that. He took one for all Guardians. That they were
But he
makes it sound like
totally
Zavala was like, hey, I need somebody who's like really give us my worst Guardian. We're gonna send him in there.
he's
And
got like a lore entry about that too, doesn't he, Byron?
it's like, who's my
Yeah,
most
he's got a whole
disposable?
But he's totally
backstory. And then
dressed
just,
like a blueberry.
yeah,
Like send
yeah,
in the
gotta-
blueberries.
Yeah, give me
Jocks
somebody
are-
disposable.
yeah, they
Send
did
him
Jocks
in.
are dirty. He got chopped up. Yep.
Poor Snap.
Yeah. So we had the Veil containment final for this season, but apparently I think they mentioned at the round table that there's going to be more each season, either at the beginning or the end.
Yep.
I don't know the exact quote what they said, but this was the final for Veil containment. And look, I don't think it really told us anything new about the Veil itself, and
Yeah.
it's hard to know whether I don't know where this fits, and I don't know what the goal was, because originally I was under the impression the goal was to fill in some of the gaps of Lightfall about the Veil, but it really wasn't about that. It ended up being a story, which was a really cool story about Chioma Essie and Maya Sundaresh, who were the founders of Neomuna, and it was actually a whole bunch of cool lore about how they founded Neomuna, discovered the Veil. Maya got corrupted. She made a copy into Lakshmi too, sent it back to Earth. Like Lakshmi is basically a copy of Maya Sundaresh, and they introduced the Vex researchers again. So like the copy of Maya Sundaresh in the Vex network. But once again, it was there was no real conclusion to it. So
Right.
I made the comment. Didn't really feel like an experiment. It kind of felt like what we're used to with Destiny, where it's like little bits of dialogue each week and then like not really satisfying conclusion and then goes on to the next season. So I think it was a great story and it was a poor delivery in general.
Yeah.
I think it would have been just a really cool post-campaign mission. If that was all together in a post-campaign mission in Lightfall, that probably would have changed some people's opinion of Lightfall. It would have given some of
Agree.
the information that you actually wanted to hear, which was, how did this city pop up? How did it remain hidden? How did they use Siva? Did they use Siva? Like, what are these founders about? Yeah. So I like the story, didn't like the delivery. And I'm obviously it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna disappear. Is it gonna disappear when that season goes, or is this kind of sitting outside the bubble of the seasonal content? Does this sit in Season
It's
of the
on
Deep, or is this
Neomuna,
it's
so
on
maybe it
Neomuna?
just
So maybe
stays
we'll
there
stick
forever.
around. Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, I've always said, well, since seeing all of that, that if they had that witness cutscene and then they put all of this dialogue in one like 30-minute kind of mission in Lightfall, the sentiment would have been a lot different.
Yeah, so I think Chad's saying I think it's technically part of Lightfall. They said they're supposed to stay. Okay, so we'll that's at least good.
That is good. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I've already said everything I need to say about it. It did. It did end. I think Maya Sundaresh, my theory is she could come back as a Vex villain. So her physical body dies, but there are virtual copies of her out there in the Vex network, and she was corrupted by the Veil, very similarly to how the Witness was corrupted, and she did some sneaky things. She basically died in the conductor chair, trying to use the Veil, and they say no one knew what she was doing. So Bungie has had an issue with telling a story about the Vex because they're just robots, so it's hard to give personality to robots who can't speak. So I think they could be going down the track of introducing Maya Sundaresh as a Vex villain, which would just be she's got such a cool storyline from literally
personifying the Vex a bit.
Yeah, from Destiny 1, from thinking you're in a simulation to being in Ishtar Collective to founding Neomuna. Like, she has got some character points stocked up. So I think she would actually be a good character to have at the center of like a Vex storyline.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. There you go. Veil containment. See if there's more next season.
We had a TWAB. They're doing a
Oh, there's more than the TWAB, Bri.
yeah. They're doing a fundraising campaign for disaster relief in Maui.
Yes.
Yep.
You can get emblems. You can get a T-shirt if you donate.
Yeah,
And-
the shirt is and the emblems, they actually go into like what all of the stuff means on the shirt because it all has meaning. And it's being made with a local artist. So it was pretty interesting reading all of the things where it's got the ghost that's on a certain backdrop projecting a hologram of Maui. Yeah, so it was interesting. Recommend giving it a read because it was cool to actually have context about all the stuff that's on the shirt.
Sure.
Yeah, that's really nice. I know when Australia had all the bushfires and they did the Australian one, like it's so appreciated by the people living there. You know, like I was walking around with this Aussie shirt and just saw random people that like commented on it and like play Destiny. So, you know, it's one of those things that will stay with those people to see that support coming from Bungie.
That's good.
Yeah. And when they went live, the site crashed. So there's been an overwhelming amount of support for it. So good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Nice.
Go get yourself a
Nice.
shirt
That's
and an
pretty
emblem
cool.
and support obviously a very, very good cause.
God
Emblem and
damn,
the
that
shirt
emblem
are
look
pretty
good.
That's a
Yeah,
good looking emblem, isn't it?
They're pretty sweet.
That's a good looking emblem. Nice. What else we got in the twid? Oh yeah, by the way, Joe said twab, so we allowed to
He
call it a twab.
did.
Yeah. He
I don't
said
know
the
why
Yeah,
thing.
get
I don't know
wrecked.
why you'd ever call it a twid. I don't know who's doing that.
Commies.
No one I
That's
know.
who's doing it.
Yeah.
The only other thing in here really is they talked about an emblem that you could get for watching the showcase.
Showcase.
And there are going to be also a couple of Twitch streamers who Bungie has reached out to who will also have this emblem as a drop. I think I heard earlier that Fallout said he was one. I'm going to be one as well. They reached out to me
Oh,
about having
nice.
the Twitch drop. So
Neato.
you should be able to get the emblem in a bunch of places. I'm sure people will put drops in their title if you can get it. So, and the emblem's
I'm gonna
pretty
put
cool.
drops in my title. I'm not one, but I'm just gonna bait everyone. Oh, it's
Are you
not
gonna
working.
be?
I
Of
like
Are you
it.
gonna be up at that time, Mylan, watching the showcase?
course, I'm gonna get up for it. Yes, I'll be there.
Alright.
I'll be there.
What time will it be your time?
What time is it going live? Reset normally for me is
9
at 1
a.m.
a.m.
So 12 a.m.
midnight. Right. I'll
Midnight,
be there. Bells and
and
whistles.
the
Oof.
pre-show starts at 11 p.m. your time.
Okay, so I won't be sleeping. That's fine. Yay. You get all the hot takes when I'm sleep deprived anyway. It would be perfect.
That was kind of it, right?
Well,
They
there's-
talked about a special delivery kiosk. It's a new kiosk in season 22. It's going to give you easy to access vendor that players can interact when chatting up Master Rahul and Banshee. So this is where you're going to be able to
Right.
snag Bungie Foundation incentives, Twitch drops, Bungie rewards. Because at the moment it's like you go to Amanda, who's not here anymore, or you go to Rahul sometimes, or sometimes
Yeah.
it's just in your inventory. So
Yeah.
this is like an actual place where you can go and get stuff.
Yeah.
and that was
there
it.
was
That was
also
all the news that they gave us this week. There's nothing else at all to report.
Correct.
This is a very long article.
that's a great podcast. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Twitter
Twitter
questions,
question.
So okay, guys, I'm gonna level with you here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of graphs and a lot of numbers and a lot of who's a what's and a who's a
boy,
flops. Which I don't think we're gonna go through every single thing. I think if you want to check out the graphs, I would recommend going and checking them out and reading yourself. I think what we should go through is like the exotic changes,
Okay.
custom tune like exotic stuff because
Yeah,
there's a
okay.
lot of things in here.
Yeah, it's
There's a
big.
lot of stuff.
Oh, he's big. I actually haven't looked
A
at it.
lot of
Some
things.
girth.
Like, if you're the kind of person who wants to see these graphs, and to be fair, they are interesting because they go
They are,
through
yeah.
like, here's all the primary weapon types. Here's what we expected. Here's how many kills we expected them to get. Here's how many kills they actually got. Here's how much usage they got. Here's the top 50 primary weapons and their usage and how many kills they got. Like it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't really translate well into podcast form.
Right.
The one thing I do want to read before we get to exotics is what's happening to swords, because this
Okay.
is actually like a pretty big change. A lot of the other changes are like we're buffing stuff or we're bringing stuff down and we're changing zoom and it's going to change the zoom value by 3.2, which,
Right.
you guys don't care about. So I do want to read
Well, you
swords.
might care about, but you don't want us to tell you about it because we're going to get it wrong.
Because we're
so.
just gonna go,
That's right,
yeah,
that's
there's
right.
like a 2.9.
We'll have to see how
zoom
that
factor.
goes.
Yeah. So swords. I'm just gonna read the whole swords thing because I do think it's very interesting, including what they say about swords. So at present, swords don't hold much value to players because, although they excel in ease of use and are ammo rich, they require users to put themselves directly in harm's way. Sword Guard could mitigate this, but the guard's duration is difficult to predict with incoming fire and disables the sword's primary means of offense, the full charge heavy attack. The guard also mitigates a very small amount of damage when compared with other existing defensive option, the glaive. Further, while numerous sword guard related perks are already in place within the game, they don't see much play. So we decided to undertake a rework with the aim to increase the viability of blocking to advance on enemies, increase the value of sword guard related perks, as well as allow guardians to use their fully charged heavy attacks more often. Did you guys know that you could fully charge heavy attacks on anything except Lament?
I don't even know what that means. What do you mean fully charge a heavy attack?
I mean, don't
You
you
just have to wait for the
charge up,
charge
like-
to be there? You just have to wait for the charge to go up, and then you just heavy attack? I don't know.
Oh, is there a superior
laments.
form of? I thought it was just like, yeah, you either have the heavy attack charge or you don't.
Oh,
Is-
I guess if you do heavy attack with it not being fully charged, is what they're talking about. Is that what they're talking about? Yeah.
Higher damage when sword energy is full. What sword energy?
It's the bar that goes up.
Oh,
Yeah.
the bar go up.
Your
big
ability.
boom.
look at
Your
your-
ability.
Big
bar.
boom, big bar. Got it.
Mylan's,
is right.
Mylan's trainer had
I
big
honestly-
sword energy today.
like falling guillotine, for example. You have to wait for the bar to fill all the way up. You do your light attacks to fill it up, and then you can do the heavy big mondo
Yeah.
swing,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
honestly, like I only use Lament, and
Yeah.
swords are in a weird place. There used to be like only like a few swords, and they had a very specific role, and they were cool to use. Like Fallen Guillotine's still up there with like just the favorite, and then now you have Lament, and then it's kind of like I don't know what role swords fulfill, because if I'm doing DPS, I'm gonna use Lament. So I don't know. What are we using swords for?
Well,
Not using it for ad clear.
maybe it's gonna
for
change.
YOLOing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, Sword Guard. Energy now recharges after a short delay when used, but recharges much faster. The delay before recharge and the recharge rate are both governed by the guard charge rate stat. That makes sense. This delay ranges between 2.7 seconds and 1.05 seconds, decreasing with charge rate stat. We've massively increased the rate energy returns after the delay to compensate, and they increase even more at higher charge rate stats. Even after the delay, swords now return to full energy from empty faster than before this rework. Full power heavy attacks can now be used with any non-zero amount of sword energy, rather than requiring full sword energy.
Okay.
We massively increased sword guard damage resistance, giving it between 82.5% and 95% damage reduction, depending on the guard resistance stat. Tanky. This damage resistance value is sharply reduced against other players like glaives. Then it provides between 52.5 and 65% damage reduction. Sword Guard no longer loses energy when taking damage. As a result of the above, guard efficiency has been removed as a stat.
Hmm.
Sword Guard duration is now increased across every guard type, with those with the shortest durations benefiting the most. Sword Guard talent nodes have had their stats squished down. Combined with the above, even though their stats have been reduced, their damage reduction, charge rates, and guard durations are now increased across the board. This allows origin traits and other sword perks more room to increase these stats and allow performance beyond their previous maximum. Sword Guard talent nodes now visually affect the charge rate bar on the inspection screen when you hover over or select them, similar to other stat affecting nodes. Sword movement speed while blocking has been increased from a 0.75% times multiplier to a 0.85 times multiplier.
Whoa, huge.
Fascinating.
The Lament Exotic Sword has been special cased, so its charge rate and delay are unaffected, but it still
Okay.
benefits from the increased guard damage reduction and duration.
Look, all I need to know is what sword that's not an exotic do I take into the day one raid?
Why
so
are you
I'm
even doing the day one
unkillable?
raid?
Why couldn't I do it again?
Starfield.
Or yeah, I felt like there was something
And it's
that I
a
was like,
Friday. It's a
It's a Friday?
Friday. It's day one Starfield release. It's a returning raid.
yeah, we haven't organized that, have we?
No.
Hmm. I would like to. I'd like to give it a shot, like a little bit, maybe not full commit. Maybe not like 24 hours.
If you want somebody who's gonna half-ass it, I'm your
Yeah.
man, says Mylan.
If you want non-committal Australian on your team, hit me up. Slide into those DMs.
Now we have the fun things. Starting with the
Okay.
most fun thing.
Yeah, this is the most fun thing.
Monte Carlo.
Oh, stabby stab.
They did it. You will be
Can't
able
believe
to
they did it.
stab with Monte Carlo.
That is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie.
It's not
And
just a
it's-
stab either. He like grabs the knife out of the gun, right?
No.
No, it's like a bayonet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a
Actually,
bayonet.
I haven't
Like,
seen the video.
Turns it and like gives it a nice thrust. But it
Yeah.
looks like the damage is a frick ton.
It was like 116,000 on
It's,
The
It's
guy?
a
Oh,
frick
okay.
ton of damage.
everyone take your Monte Carlos into the raid.
Yeah, no kidding. You just gonna throw down a well and everyone's just gonna just stab away.
Do we know? Oh, is it a like a hold R reload kind of deal to switch to?
Yeah, so the video shows that the hunter gets a kill with their empowered melee, which gives them Markov chain ×5, which is currently a thing that's on Monte Carlo. But it seems like you need to get Markov chain ×5 to get the
And then you
ability
can
to
proc it.
switch to it. And when they do switch to the melee Monte Carlo thing, it does take place. If you look at the abilities bar, it takes the powered melee spot,
Okay.
and that is
Oh,
then
yeah.
Monte Carlo's thing.
Yeah.
So you don't need another
yeah,
button
so
on
it's
your
a,
controller.
No.
Oh, and once you use the bayonet, it goes back to your normal powered melee.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be able to spam it.
No, you're
It's
not gonna be able
like
to spam it.
there's not gonna be like a glaive where you can just keep stabbing. You literally
No.
have to earn the
Charge it
perk,
up,
and then
get
you
the
can
stab.
stab once. Yeah, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it also it refreshed Markov chain ×5 when you get a kill with it, so it does play into the other part of the gun. And then also it's got like on the lower left as well, when you do get that charge and you switch to it, it says bayonet locked. And there's no timer to that, so I'm kind of hoping that once you get the ability to switch to the stabby stabs, you can just switch to it and then kind of keep it until you're ready to use it.
I am really looking forward to the first time it organically happens where a player will bayonet stab a Thunder Crash Titan out of the sky in PvP. I just
Excuse me?
can you imagine? You know, this
That
would
Titan's
be
flying at
hilarious.
you like, dude, I'm about to solo smash the crap out of you. And then he just stab him in the face as he's flying. That'd be amazing.
The thing
I
that
wonder
I'm
how
gonna
long you
test
can hold it for.
immediately is getting it and trying to take out a bubble and a guy in a well.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to try both of those. That's why I said, Mylan, that when it says bayonet locked, there's no timer next to it. So I feel
Oh,
like
right.
it's
But I need to watch it again. So, like, if once you get the charged melee kill, can you not commit to the bayonet locked until you're kind of ready, or that depends on the what was it the buff being on your screen, the Markov chain?
if
'Cause
it's
you
to
didn't.
do with getting ×5 Markov chain and you have that window to switch to bayonet locked,
You got 10 seconds or whatever to switch to bayonet locked.
5 seconds. Yeah.
5. Okay.
5 seconds. But it seems like, at least from what I can tell, with the fact that there's not a number next to bayonet locked, that you can then just kind of run around with bayonet locked
So you
potentially.
could choose to lock it, but then you can't fire, right? I'm assuming you can't fire while the bayonet's locked.
I would guess so. Yeah. I had a lot of questions
I
about
mean, that
this.
would be.
Think I
I
scoped
mean,
it
if you could
right now.
fire while the bayonet was locked, it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it does take place of your melee button, so
That was
I'd say
melee.
it's possible, right?
Yeah, true. Cool.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very dope.
Quicksilver Storm. They fixed an issue where ammo was loading into Quicksilver Storm slightly too late in the reload animation. Take that. Dead Man's Tail. Fix the displayed impact stat. This is cosmetic only. Two-Tailed Fox. They are actually making it to where Two-Tailed Fox now fires a 3-shot burst with the catalyst instead of firing 3 rockets in a 2-shot burst.
I'm gonna kill myself
Okay.
so many times with that.
Me too.
Because you're
I
gonna
almost
jump and you're gonna like
yeah.
bam, bam, and then you're gonna hit the ground and you're behind cover and that third rocket's just
Bam.
gonna blow up in your yeah. Or you're gonna peek out, toot toot, and then boom.
Yep, I'm gonna do that all the time. Vergless Curve. So they say here that they fixed an issue where if Whisper of Fissures gets the kill, it does not count for Hail Barrage stacks. They've also buffed the weapon's performance in PvP when using Hail Barrage. So Shiver Quiver now activates when slowing enemies, and they increase the slow stacks from 40 to 60 when hitting players directly with Hail Barrage arrows, which allows for a freeze if 2 Hail Barrage arrows hit the same player.
Okay.
Lemonarch.
Lemonade. Yeah, what's happening with
Lemonarch.
Lemonade? Good. Get it out of the game. They're deleting it.
So they're switching it to a lightweight frame, which is going to change how fast you can fire it.
You can
they've-
fire more lemon arc.
You can't.
You
Wait,
can
what?
shoot
You fire it
more poison
So-
arrows.
I'll just read the whole thing because they do have a whole explanation thing and like all the stuff that they're doing, which does kind of tell a bigger picture than the just exact changes they're doing.
Okay.
So, they've decided to address both facets of the problem of Lemonarch by shifting Lemon to use the same damage profile as a lightweight bow. It now deals 85 damage on impact to the body and 136 to the head against players. We've also reduced the DOT duration from 3 seconds down to 1.75 seconds, which makes it feel significantly less painful to be hit by this weapon. The dot deals the same total damage as before against players, divided into 6 ticks instead of 8. But they have increased the dot damage in PvE by 50% to compensate. So when you're getting hit by it in PvP, instead of you getting hit and then you're burning for 3 seconds
8
and
seconds.
then your health can come back,
Yeah,
it's
after your recovery delay.
1.75 seconds and then your health can come back. So you're going to be able to recover your health faster after getting hit by it, which is nice. It doesn't keep you out of the fight for as long. In
Providence has
PvE,
it. My brain just shit off. Something
Well-
shut off. Kind of true.
well, okay, the TLDR is like we just said, that you're going to be able to recover your health faster because you're going to be burning for less amount of time.
Less. But you're still
So
losing the same amount of health.
You're losing the same amount of health, but you can
Okay.
recover faster.
Well, and they're changing the archetype basically, yeah? To be the lightweight.
It's a lightweight.
But one of the things that we did skip is that the lightweight family is getting some serious buffs.
They
They are,
are
aren't they?
getting some
Yeah.
serious buffs. Yeah.
So lemon might actually feel easier to use. I don't know, but yeah, but it's overall it's not going to do as much damage. The arrow itself isn't going to do as much damage as it currently
Right.
is doing.
What's
Yeah.
a hot swap like between a lightweight and a hand cannon? Like, is this going to make it easier to get the one shot off, and then switch to a hand cannon, finish him off?
If my math is correct, it's still possible to hot swap.
Yeah.
But you just have to hit the
Mm.
head, you know.
Yeah.
Which if
Okay.
you got quick draw opening shot, which there are 120s in the game that have that. There you go.
Got him.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. It definitely does hit the pain point, at least, of you being out of the fight for
Being
a
out of
super
action for
freaking long
ages.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will make that will feel better to play against. I don't know how the
Mm.
rest is gonna feel. We'll see. So they've reduced the draw time from 684 ms to 612 ms because it's a lightweight. Reduced body shot damage from 100 to 85. Increased critical hit multiplier from 1.5 to 1.6. A crit damage against players goes from 150 to 136. So it's 150 at the moment. And then they changed the dot effect, which we talked about. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Vex Mythoclass is getting its RPM reduced from 390 to 360 to match other high impact auto rifles. And it's also going to have increased damage against red bar combatants and orange bar combatants by 25%.
Right. I have seen more Vex in PvP lately.
It's real good.
It is real.
Yeah.
It's spicy.
It's really, really
Okay.
good. Yeah. And then auto rifles are also getting a bit of a buff too. So
Mhm.
it would have, it just keeps getting all the auto rifle buffs, but it doesn't get any like knockdowns to compensate. So
Yeah.
I kind of like when Vex is a little meta. Just
Yeah.
the
It
just
feels
it's the Destiny purist in me.
Yeah.
It's like that's right.
Yeah, it's a
As
Vex
it
gun. It
should
should be
be.
stomping you out of reality itself.
When are we getting a Suros meta? So all we can just hear is ding, 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 ding
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the good old days.
Man, that lives in my head, that sound.
Rent free.
Tommy's matchbook is getting an updated scorch value. So before it was like loaded to where it was okay. So basically, it's they're front loading the scorch instead of separating it. So you're gonna get the scorch stacks at the front load instead of the end load. So
Okay.
previously it was 14 plus 7 with the Ember of Ashes fragment equipped with scorch stacks. Now it's 15 plus 5. So
Someone's like, yeah, we need to make people use Tommy because no one's using it.
Tommy's is
Oh,
real good. I've been using Tommy's.
In Tommy's?
Tommy's is real good.
Okay.
Tommy's
I
real
mean, is that good? Is it good in PvE? That sounds like it would work well with PvE.
Oh, I'm sure it
Front
would.
loaded
Yeah,
Scorch. Okay.
You can do a lot of fun things with Scorch stacks.
you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touch of Malice is getting a lot of stuff happening.
Still haven't got it
So-
yet.
You haven't got it?
No.
No, gotta get it. It's big. They have increased the final round damage in PvE by 20%, decreased the self damage from the final round from 10 to 7. The final
Okay.
round can no longer kill the user. So, of course, you can still be killed, but you'll sit at like 1 health.
Oh.
Like standing in a Titan barricade, yeah.
Yeah, you can just sit there and plink away. Increase the health awarded by the Touch of Malice perk from 30 to 75. Set up Touch of Malice to work with Unrelenting. Guardians and major combatants give more points towards activation, and we increase the time allowed between kills. And the Ball of Darkness now appropriately deals arc damage and will blind combatants and stun unstoppable champions.
Kind of sounds spicy.
It
Yeah,
does sound
yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, it's a big buff. That's a big
So
buff.
if you sit in, if you have a Titan barricade with the Void Shield, can you just? Does it get rid of? What happens with your Void Shield? Does it get rid of your Void Shield? I haven't got it. So, and well, what's not a Titan? You
I have
know,
no
TV.
idea.
Does it just take off your void shields as you keep finding the final rounds? I'm assuming so.
I would assume. Yeah, I would assume so, right? Because it ticks whatever health you've got, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It starts with your
Right.
shields and then it will tick your HP. I never got the gun to drop. I did like 35 clears and I was like, I'm bored with this.
Copy that.
Man, it is real big that you can't kill yourself with it. Because
Yeah.
then it's like, yeah, if I get shot, I die. But if I'm just shooting something and I'm not being focused, or like you say, yeah, if I'm next to like a Titan wall or something, you can just keep shooting.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Nice. Very cute.
Sounds
Very
fun. I
cool.
wish I had.
Yeah, we're all like, cool. Wish I need to play King's Fall.
Gotta go play some Kingsfall again.
Let's get it done.
Malfeasance is just getting an issue fix where the Vorpal weapon catalyst wasn't displaying the status buff text. Very simple.
Copy that.
Cloud Strike's getting a nerf. They've reduced the lethal kill distance of the lightning strike against players. So you're not going to be standing next to someone and they get headshot and you get taken out. You'll take a lot of damage, but you're not going to die right away.
Well, they said the lethal kill distance. That means if you're right next to him, you'll die. But if you're a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit
sure.
further
Yeah,
away,
if you're like hugging ass, I'm sure you'll probably still die.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much small. Yeah, does a smaller radius of damage. Wicked Implements getting some stuff. The timing window for creeping attrition has been increased from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. You can now also activate Tithing Harvest by destroying stasis crystals, and the Wicked Implement Exotic Catalyst now also includes Headstone, which is nice with those two together because you're going to be able to
Yeah, it's
create
gonna
a
synergize.
headstone. Yeah, it's going to synergize your
Oh,
life.
that is good.
I always liked when it came out. I really liked Wicked Implement. I think visually it's
Yeah,
very unique,
it
and I
is.
had
That's
fun
true.
playing with it. But it was pretty average at best. So,
Yeah.
uh, I also understand why they went conservative with it though, because the idea in the current meta of introducing a really powerful scout rifle, they probably
Yeah.
didn't want to do that. So I totally get where they're coming from. It's a lot easier to bring it into the game a little underpowered and then tune it
Definitely.
up a bit.
Definitely. That is it for the exotic changes for weapons specifically. But now we have perks. Perks.
Sorry.
Okay. Bipod. Everyone loves Bipod, right? They've reduced the damage penalty from 40% to 25%.
Cool.
I think it could be good in like really short damage phase windows, right? Where it's
Yeah,
like
maybe.
just pump a ton. Envious Assassin. There is no longer a time limit after kills within which you must activate the perk or get another kill. The perk will now
Oh, that's
activate.
pretty huge.
That is actually really big. The perk will now activate even if the magazine is overflowed. It will stop activating once you hit max magazine size of 2.5 times or greater. Enhanced Envious Assassin now provides fractionally more ammo per kill instead of a longer window of time after kill.
Okay.
You can actually use
That's
this in
pretty
PvP now.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure. So envious, you get to kill one gun and then you switch the other one and it overloads it. Is that envious? I think that's envious.
Yeah, so
So you
getting
can
a
you can basically like overflow a sniper because there is a new Amuna sniper that's got envious on it. You
I
just
have that one with Envious
yeah
opening shot.
yeah you can just jack it up for a DPS phase.
right.
But you used to have to get the kill and then quickly swap to it and then go back to your primary kill,
Yeah.
quickly swap to it. But now you could take a little bit of time. That's pretty big. Be great for doing DPS on a champion or something.
Under Over now provides bonus body shot damage against players with Woven Mail. Increased the bonus damage against combatant shields. Deals significantly increased damage to enemies who are enhanced by Dark Cabal overshields, in addition to enemies shielded by Lucent Moths.
Huh.
Nyeh.
Yeah.
Under Pressure. Good job, Lego's not here.
Yeah,
Reduce
no
the
doubt.
reduce the maximum accuracy cone scalar from 0.5 to 0.75. The TLDR is that it's especially potent on fusion rifles, and they want to make it not as
Less
potent.
so.
Shoot to loot no longer triggers the reload when shooting a special brick that could not be picked up while also having an overflowed weapon equip. And explosive damage now interacts with orbs of power.
I don't understand.
What?
What did you say? I understand.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Why?
Explosive
Don't worry
damage.
about it.
Okay.
Do you need to
No,
know
no,
what
it's
shoot to
explosive
loot
rounds. Like the damage
I
is
know
going
what
to pick
shoot
up
to loot
the.
does. I don't understand why.
Well, if the splash damage from the explosive round is going to activate shoot to loot, so you don't have to directly hit the
Hit
ammo
the-
brick
Okay.
with the bullet.
Thank you.
Valiant Charge. Perk now deactivates after the initial sword swing. Ambush no longer deactivates from healing, fall damage, or being shot by allies. Yeah, you don't want to get shot by allies and have your perk go away.
Yeah,
That'd be bad.
makes sense.
Explosive Light. Fixed a bug where the enhanced version of the perk was granting 2 stacks on the initial orb pickup. Chill Clip. Reduce the slow stacks from 60 to 40, and Wolfpack rounds no longer trigger this perk. Rip.
It's all
that
you
is-
want.
Pretty
that's
good.
perks.
It's all
perk
you.
and-
That's it for perks.
Oh,
I don't
phew.
play PvE. I do. I play PvE for like 2 weeks, and then I'm like, it's like when you've got your comfort game, right? Instead of loading up and like figuring out what to do, you're like, I'll just go into the Crucible.
Yeah.
And I have a
hear
bunch of things I want to try in the Crucible.
I compare PvE to like eating your veggies. You know, it's like you gotta do it. It's just something you gotta do so you can get to the stuff that you enjoy.
No. Kind of how it is for me.
Like banging your raids out in a week is like your mom being like, you gotta eat your broccoli.
You can't just eat your steak
Your
all the
meat
time.
and potatoes.
Okay? Okay. Next, so that's it for perks. We're all done with perks. We're getting close to the end too, so we're almost there because we skipped 8 graphs and like 15 breakdowns of. Okay, so to craft or not to craft, here's what's changing in season 22. So weapon progression earning is changing. So we all go to Shurochi to level up our weapons. Well, they're hoping we don't just have to do that all the time.
Thank God. Tell me you just get more from just completing activities.
Pretty
Basically,
much.
yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Good.
So they are making it to where level progression is obtained through more meaningful methods like activity completions and PvP kills. And they're
Right.
also adding a currency driven method of directly advancing a weapon's level. A la Motes of Light.
Yep.
You remember
Another
dumping Motes of Light?
currency.
No, it's the same
No,
currency.
it's the
We'll
same.
get
It's
there.
just yeah.
Okay.
It does what Motes of Light did. Since the opportunities to get kills in PvP is far lower than what's possible in PvE, we will be increasing the amount of progression earned by defeating guardians in PvP activities. This is great because I complete all my catalysts in PvP.
So do I.
Yeah.
I know I'm a masochist.
All of them.
I crafted a couple of what's the auto rifle amets. I crafted amet
Mhm.
because of auto rifles, and I crafted a lightweight shotgun. What's the
Without remorse.
the Cabal looking one with the purple gems on it. And yeah, and I was like just getting kills in the Crucible. I'm like, bro, I should be getting a lot more
Oh, yeah.
progression
Yeah,
for
definitely.
using these red borders, for taking in something that doesn't have the right perks on it and using it in PvP and getting kills. And I was like, yeah, and that sounds right.
You know what
Good.
really sucks about the current system? And they didn't mention this specifically, but hopefully something they change. What really sucks is that you get like I think it's 14% when you complete a Crucible match.
Mhm.
But it doesn't overflow to the next level. So if
It
you
doesn't,
get like
yeah.
maybe you have a
Yeah.
massive game and you pop off, you get like 12 final blows with that weapon, and you get it to 99% right before the match ends. When the match completes, you don't get 14%, you get 1. It just
Yeah.
stops
Dumb.
it as soon as you hit that next level, and that's bull crap. So hopefully they change
I
that.
hear from Toes in chat that they did mention this.
Oh, did
So
they mention it?
apparently.
Did I miss that part?
I'll read
Been
they're
fixed,
fixing it.
apparently.
They're
Right.
fixing it. Oh shit, they fixed
Web
it?
chat.
It's being fixed.
Oh, perfect. Well, I blame
Um
Fallout because his is the video I watched on this
there you
whole
go, Fallout. You
update.
missed a
So
huge thing.
this is really
Huge
on
we do in
him.
Fallout. We're boosting activity completion progression across Crucible, Trials, Dares, Wellspring, Gambit, and Platinum score completions of Legend and Master Solo Law sectors. Good. We're also adding the capability for progress that exceeds the current level to roll over to the next level.
There you go. There it
Bada
is.
bing, bada boom.
You just had to read
Boom.
TV.
Listen, there's a lot to read in here.
It
I
was
get
a lot. I had some fatigue working through this. All right.
when you get to like the bottom, you're like, yeah, okay, great. I'm masterworking and stuff. We're also adding. Oh, no, I already did that. This issue has been a prominent talking point when looking at crafting for a while because of the way the new weapon level progression functions. Due to the necessity to store weapon level and progress on each individual weapon, the weapon leveling system could not be set up in a similar fashion to how Season Pass level works or how character level worked in the past. The system we're currently using can be a bit fragile. It was a key part in the Revision Zero API mishaps that occurred in Season of the Seraph. Due to the risks and some technical gremlins, we deprioritized this work in favor of the deep sight changes we made in Season 20 and 21. However, you'll finally be getting this rollover behavior in Season 22.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It's always I always do like getting a little bit of insight into like why this wasn't a
Uh-huh.
thing because it would make
Yeah.
sense that it would be a thing and then you're like, "Oh, it like broke the entire API." Okay. Good. They had to
Stop.
turn the API off because of revision 0. So that makes sense. Um okay, what else is there? There's some other things with Oh, here we go. To the directly increase a weapon's level through currency. So, crafted and enhanced weapons will both receive a new mod slot in their weapon details where you can spend glimmer and enhancement cores to boost the level of a weapon. This mod will increase the weapon's level directly, leaving your existing progress towards the next level
The hometown
untouched.
boy.
That's great. So if you're like at 99% and you want to boost it up to like from level 1 to level 30, you'll keep that 99%. While there is no cap to how far you can boost the weapon's level to, the cost of this boosting will increase relative to the level of the weapon.
Okay.
Weapon usage is meant to be the main path for increasing a weapon's level. However, with the restrictions of how many weapons you can level at a time and always increasing expansion to the amount of weapons that have a level, we wanted to provide an alternative method. Yeah, I could totally see using it to like say it's like the fourth perk or something you unlock. I'm like, let me just get that real quick so it makes it less painful to just use it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Crafting economy changes. Another change they're making is the resonant and harmonic alloys will be deprecated, which I think we knew about already, so we don't need to go into that too much. And then they're doing stuff to Neo Muna weapon pattern acquisition. So in season 22, here's what's
Good.
going to happen. I know, right? There's so many people that are like, I cannot get it to drop. And then they changed the way that the like patrol mission popped up
Yeah.
so that you can even do that anymore.
Yeah, they nerfed how much was coming up, didn't they?
Yep.
Or something like that. And I was like, every time I keep thinking, am I doing something wrong? How do I target these red borders?
Yeah. There you go.
How do we do it?
Neo Muna Weekly Pinnacle Story Mission Score Challenge will provide guaranteed Neo Muna weapon pattern progress the first time it's completed each week.
Oh, I gotta do my deep sight stuff off the season pass.
You do, yeah, I
Or
haven't
it
done that
goes
either.
away. Oh.
The Neo Muna vendor engram upgrade will increase the drop chance of deep sight Neo Muna weapons. This is retroactive. So if you've already claimed it, it will already be claimed in the vendor upgrade. The Throne World vendor engram upgrade will also receive the same behavior for the Throne World deep sight weapons and will be retroactive. Season 22 will also include a bug fix in the underlying deep sight drop system that manifested from the major overhaul we did for Lightfall. This bug could decrease the deep sight drop rate as you neared the completion of a pattern set. Oh, you
that's
just need one
awful.
more.
What
1% chance.
what a kick in the
1%.
Oh,
nuts.
that's an accident? That's a bug, was it? Because that sounds like player intelligence to me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is that although this deep sight bug on its own would normally have a low impact on deep sight behavior, the problem was exacerbated when coupled with the lack of deterministic deep sight sources on Neomuna weapons.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they've been a pain. They've been
They
such
they
a pain
are
to
a
get.
pain. Yeah,
Yeah,
they are a real pain.
yeah. I'm glad. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the article. We got through
Woo.
a lot, just didn't go into the nitty gritty. We gave you the titties, not the
That
gritties.
wasn't the nitty gritty.
I must have missed the titties, unfortunately.
What?
Bry's slammed 5 beers already. Cam's off.
That's right.
There
That
you go.
seems like there's some good changes for crafting. That's good.
It is, yeah. Like this article was full of some stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So
Kind of makes me feel like I could go through and actually level my red borders without it being like this. I could just
Massive chore,
slowly go through and just level them up. Whereas before, it just seemed like I was pretty much only leveling stuff I was thinking was going to be a meta, or it's going to be completely broken.
And the leveling changes. Is that next season or the following one?
I think it's next season.
Was it season 22? I think I said season 22.
I think everything said season 22. Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta say that I appreciated what Prescott said in chat. Said the titties are on the new armor.
Oh,
True.
nice.
True.
True.
Sweet.
That's where they are.
The Savathun looking armor.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Savathun? Yeah, it's like Hyvee.
Yeah,
bony.
it's Hyvee. Freaking Amaru's right there, so you know it. Yeah, it's Hyvee.
Yeah, nice. Very nice.
Wanna do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, I think we're at Twitter questions, aren't we?
I think we are.
Well, if they're bringing that armor, don't you think it's about time they revert the changes they made to the bond? You know the one.
Oh,
You know the one
Oh,
they.
yeah.
Yeah.
What to bring it back?
Yes. They have the full package. You want to be a triple threat, baby.
Wait, where's the triple? We got a double.
You know where it is.
Unless
It's under the equator.
Juice says, "Love you guys. What is your steak order? Rare, well done. What cut? New York strip, ribeye. What type? Kobe, choice, prime."
Just medium rare always, and then I don't know mistakes well enough. Just whatever's nice.
I'm a sucker for top sirloin and medium rare always.
Yeah, I'll generally go rare.
Rare.
I'll go porterhouse if I'm feeling frisky, but generally I'll go with like a I don't know, something smaller than that. Like a half. What is it? What is the little one called? I can never remember.
A little cutlet?
Yeah,
a little cutlet?
tiny one.
A little fillet?
Fillet.
Scotch
Thank
fillet.
you. The little
A
fillet.
little fillet?
Yeah. Space Lobster says, "What points or things does this showcase need to show you for you to have a less apathetic attitude toward the game right now?"
I don't know if the showcase is going to do that. I think the showcase is
Right.
not going to surprise me in any way, and anything being like crazy. I think any conversation about post final shape is what's gonna, like, obviously I'm gonna play up to final shape and dip in and out of Destiny. I think my question is what happens after final shape and what they commit to. And I thought about what would keep me in Destiny, and actually one of the things would be a really healthy Crucible with regular map packs, regular updates, regular modes, and a fun place to be. I think that would keep me coming back to Destiny for games of Cruci. And when it comes to story, like, I think I need a big change up, like new enemies, new planets, new timelines, almost like a full reset, basically. I don't think so either, but that's kind of what I would need to really suck me back in.
When it comes to these big teaser events that showcase future content. One of the things that as a PvP player that does get me hyped is when they showcase new exotic armor and weapons, because that stuff trickles down in PvP. So
Yeah.
if there's a new exotic weapon or exotic armor piece that does something or really cool, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, I bet I could do something like this in PvP with that, and your brain's
Yeah.
already thinking about that stuff. Those are the things that get me hyped. So hopefully they deliver by bringing us some really unique exotic items.
Yeah, I think the showcases for me, I normally enjoy showcases and like big expansions. I enjoy playing big expansions. Like big expansions aren't usually the issue with my playtime in Destiny. Like I'm going to enjoy playing the campaign, I'm going to enjoy the new raid, I'm going to enjoy like the new subclass that's coming. I'm going to have a good time with all of that. So I don't really expect the showcase to show me anything that goes, I'm very confident now in the future of Destiny, unless they talk
Sure.
extensively about post Final Shape and what the live service game is going to look like, which Joe said they're
He
going to be
did
jumping
say
into it a little bit, that the
a little
live
bit.
service is changing post Final Shape. So if they end up saying something, I don't even know what I would want. I don't even know what I would want for
What
how the live
what if
service
they
changes.
said we're going to a subscription model to give you more content?
I already pay a subscription model essentially, so
Yeah.
Exactly.
At this
Yeah,
point,
it means
they need to woo me a little bit. They need to pay for dinner before they ask me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I need to. I wouldn't jump into a subscription model right now, like sight unseen.
True.
I'd have to
True.
see the goods behind the curtain first.
Yeah.
I think I would like maybe fewer seasons, but they've got a bit more bang in those seasons. They've got generally more content in them. They bring more
I'd be okay with
to
that.
them.
I actually think that would probably suit what's happening at the moment and with how long Destiny's been going. I actually think they
Yeah.
probably could cut down on how many seasons but make them more meaningful, and then people go away, they play other games and they come back for, not quite an expansion but like a supercharged season, rather than
Yeah.
4 seasons, it's 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bottle says, "What are your thoughts on Starfield? Excited or not?"
Oh heck yeah! I'm
Tell us
all
about it,
about.
TV. Let's go. What are you excited about?
Oh man, I'm all about. I'm a huge Bethesda RPGs are what made me want to get into content creation. It wasn't Destiny.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of their
Bugs?
style. Well, hey, you know what? I'm gonna level with you. The difference between Destiny bugs and Bethesda bugs is that Bethesda bugs are funny.
It's kind of true.
And Destiny bugs are, oh crap, sorry, that's why you couldn't get your last deep sight item. You know what I mean? Because they're just really silly, funny bugs. And they did also say that Bethesda came out and said that this is the least buggy game they've ever made on launch, which isn't
What?
setting the bar super high, but it is at least
But
a
it's
That's
little.
a low
higher
bar.
than it has
It is a little- But I
Hey
mean,
guys,
we
the
had a
game
great.
works. It's our least
Yeah.
buggy game.
But they had a great Q&A this week as well with some of the devs. We learned some
Really?
new stuff. Like there's over 20 companions with their own like storylines, dialogues and quest lines to pursue. That's
So,
really cool.
I honestly haven't looked much into it. What am I doing? I log in. Like, what's the goal here? What are we doing, TV?
That's entirely up to you. You got a galaxy to explore. So
So it's an open world game. It's an open world
open.
space game,
Oh yeah, so over 1,000 planets to explore.
right?
And so resources to acquire, but it goes beyond that. You're stepping into an environment where you have. So basically, we don't know the whole lore yet, but things were falling apart on Earth, and we had to get out.
Okay.
And so you end up with a couple of different major factions. You have the people that are about the law and the order and the new society of human beings, but then you have the like
Cops.
planets that are a little bit further out that are like the Wild West. They're like, you don't get to impose your laws and rules on us. This is the Wild West. We're the Free Star Collective, and we don't bow to anybody. And there was a big war, and so you're coming into this time period just after that war where the Free Star is kind of a smaller, almost like think American Revolution, fighting against the Titans that traveled all the way to your shores to fight you and subdue you, and then you push them back. So
Sounds like
that's what you're
Firefly.
stepping into, and you can sort of Oh, there's a lot of Firefly influence in terms of like their inspiration.
That's a good
But
thing.
anyways, so you can choose what factions you want to side with. Are you with the Free Star or the
Right.
United Colonies, and then there's tons of
So
other
it's
stuff in between.
similar to No Man's Sky, but it sounds like a bit more like narrative driven
It's
Skyrim stuff.
a lot of people draw that comparison, but it's very unlike No Man's Sky in a lot of ways. Like actual combat, kind of like
Yeah, it's not all
think
about
of
resource
No Man's Sky is
collection
much
and-
more like resources.
yeah,
kind of deal,
grab your
right?
resources, but you
It's
can
like a
build
survival
outposts. You
game.
can, yeah.
True.
So
Yeah.
Is
it's gonna be great.
Multiplayer or co-op or
No.
just
Nope,
single?
just single player.
Yeah, that's too many
Just single
bugs
player.
if you get
But
multiple
You
people.
don't have to worry about servers.
well, yeah, but also
Thank
Bethesda's always been like, hey, modders, do your stuff. Well, not
Yeah.
always. There was one incident, but for the most part, they've always been like one of the more open devs in terms of allowing people to just play with their game and create new things in there. So one of the things that we had with like Skyrim was the Skyrim Together mod, where the modding community made co-op Skyrim. I do that. My wife and I play Skyrim together
Yeah,
through
cool.
that mod. So the sky's the limit there.
How many NPCs can I kill?
All of them.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
Bethesda
sure.
Good.
game.
Probably a
Yeah.
lot.
Literally all of them. You
Good.
can
Yeah.
kill the entire city.
Have you
Are
ever
you
played
gonna
a
roll up
Fallout game?
City, I'm gonna kill you.
Mylon,
Can
have
I
you
blow
ever
up a
played
planet?
Fallout?
Not really. Like
No?
I maybe a very short amount of time. Like I've played Fallout. I don't really like the style of combat in Fallout. Is it similar to Fallout with the combat? Like
Mm,
I don't think
Fallout's
so. I don't
pretty
think they're gonna have the
unique.
VAT system in there, which is
No,
that,
like
There's no
VATS and
VATS, no.
yeah.
yeah, so more just real time first
So
person shooter.
they did talk about how one of the things they focused on the most with Starfield was they're like, our combat systems have always been one of the things that kind of hold our games back. Like we reach deep into RPG elements, but in terms of like real time combat, we're not competitive in the
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
So
That's always what put me off. Is like I can see the RPG element, but never really clicked with the like real time aspect of it.
yeah, so they said even since the build that you see in the Starfield Direct presentation, so several weeks ago, they're like, that's not even the final form of our combat systems that we feel very confident in those. So
it's exciting.
hopefully it feels good.
Yeah. If they make a universe that's like awesome to explore, I think this thing is gonna be a no-brainer. And
Yeah,
usually
okay, so that's why
what
I'm
they're
not.
best at.
I think this is why I'm not doing the raid. But then again, it's not going anywhere. Maybe I should do the raid and then jump into Starfield. We'll see.
It's Romeo
Just
One
won't be
says,
there
"Hey
day
DCP, how y'all doing this week? Just wanted to ask everyone what's your favorite game theme song is. Can't beat a classic, but mine would be Halo.
Theme song,
Ooh,
like the
yeah.
main theme,
Like any theme song.
Oh, I
I
reckon
guess it would be-
soundtrack.
or
Game
like any
soundtrack, I
song
reckon.
from a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Halo does do
so-
it for you.
The Temple of Time song from Ocarina of Time.
Oh.
Or oh shoot, Song of Storms. Oh yeah, Song of Storms from Ocarina of Time. There it is. That's the one.
Okay.
There's some folks in
Oh,
chat.
no.
They'll know that right off the rip.
I mean, Warhog Run is just iconic. Always goes hard.
It's real hard for me to pick anything that's not like Final Fantasy because their music is just a whole other level. So I don't know which one I would go with because there's so many good ones. I mean, 16 introduced so many bangers. But yeah, something from Final Fantasy most likely.
Mine would
Probably that.
be Vampire Killer from Castlevania. It's been redone several times, and it's awesome every time I hear it.
Castlevania
okay,
has
cool.
always been on my list, but I've never engaged with it.
That's good. It's fun. I lost my spot. Where'd I go? Cobalt says, "Hey DCP, I had a dream that Tefty was back on the show. Hope he's doing well. Send him our best wishes. Will do."
You got it.
Drizzy RSX says, "Feels like all I really see in the Crucible is auto rifles like Centrifuge. Do you think that hand cannons will ever rise to greatness again in PvP?"
I feel like I've been seeing a lot more hand cannons in Crucible. I don't know, but I don't spend a
Yeah,
huge
good
amount of time in
hand
there.
cannons. Yeah, It's
Hand
just
cannons
their
are good.
Immortal's nuts, so people are using Immortal.
Yep. Yeah, I think hand cannons are always going to be like, if they're not the meta, they're always going to be just underneath the surface.
They're still
They're
Yeah.
good.
the highest
They're good.
used weapon in that
They're
graph.
very good. Well, they feel good.
Yeah.
It's like the Destiny thing, for PvPers.
Yeah.
I've been just
definitely.
getting slapped by Ace of Spades again. Bloody everyone's using it. Ace of Spades has been kicking my ass.
Casper J says, with the Vex being part of the focus after the final shape, do you think we will learn more about Braze and their connection to the Vex and Elsie's ability to time travel to other timelines?
Just lowering it.
What's the lore on that? Yeah, I mean, they could definitely go down that path for sure. Timeline stuff and Exo Stranger and all the dark future that she's seen, like that would make sense to expand into that area. Like I said before, I think they could bring Maya Sundaresh back as some sort of villain or expand on that storyline because I've kind of introduced it now, and they made a big point in their articles that that the Veil containment is going to introduce stuff for future seasons. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So, I mean, the whole thing was about Chioma Essie and Maya Sundaresh, so I'm kind of thinking it's going to go down that direction as well.
Yeah.
I feel like the Black Garden was up there for things that they could cover, but I feel like they probably closed that door with the whole unveiling law and the witness. I actually think they closed that door to open up other possibilities, and they kind of closed off the idea of exploring the Black Garden a little bit more in the heart of the Black Garden and tied it back to the Veil. So they're gonna have to. Yeah, I mean, I think the Exo Stranger is a good storyline they can go back to. Nice way to loop back down to Destiny 1.
Johnny says, would having a map creator for the community fix a lot of the issues for PvP?
I think map packs is probably going to be interesting, but I think, like TV said, it's not the only thing that's impacting it. Like the whole ecosystem needs help, from sandbox to matchmaking to maps to modes. There's a lot of components in there that need help, and they've addressed some of them.
Yeah.
MTL Rocker says, I'm sorry, go ahead, TV.
Is he talking about like Forge mode, like map makers?
I think
make
so.
your
I mean,
own
I
map?
would love it.
Yeah.
I would love it. It would make so much content. It would be huge,
yeah.
but I don't think
It's
it'll
a
happen.
massive undertaking for a game like Destiny to
can
make
imagine.
a Forge mode. It would probably
Yeah.
break more things than it fixed in the immediate future.
Yeah.
But if the sky's the limit, that would be cool, no doubt.
Definitely.
Yeah, be huge.
MTL Rocker says, is Bungie forgiven? Can we put away our pitchforks? Can we put our pitchforks away for now? Put your pitchfork away.
I think the for now is probably the right emphasis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, look, I think people are still welcome to be skeptical, and people are still welcome to be like, as long as these are are these long-term changes, or are they just kind of quieting everyone down and then back to normal kind of deal? And I think it's fine to be skeptical that we'll return to a phase that's not good in Crucible, and there's no maps again, and there's, they get rid of the strike team because it's in a good place and they want to put resources elsewhere. So I hope it doesn't go in that direction, and it has a revival, it has a second wind, and Bungie sees the benefits of having a healthy Crucible, and they want to keep the changes that they made, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe then they don't have the pitchforks in the sky waving them. They just got the pitchforks next to them on the ground, and they're listening.
He's got
Like,
Eh.
continue.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then I'm gonna get to the stabbing. Odysseus123 says, what's something that could announce to lock you in for 10 more years of Destiny? What would make you put the game down forever? Personally, morbid curiosity would keep me on the Destiny roller coaster, but if they announce post TFS no more raids, I think I'm done. I think raids are a serious moneymaker.
They're safe.
Yeah,
they
they're
would never
safe.
do that.
Yeah. For me personally, it's unlikely that I'll stick with Destiny for 10 more years, almost no matter what they do. Right? I just don't see myself like being able to maintain interest in the same game for 10 years. Like they'd have to wildly change up a lot about the game just to keep it
if
fresh.
they're gonna keep me another 10 years, then for me, honestly, I feel like there's got to be a hard reset in there somewhere.
There's got to be a
Yeah.
Destiny 3. Like almost.
Well, I
definitely.
think what will happen for me is Destiny's just not going to be my main game. Like I think if Destiny keeps going in the background, they keep putting out dungeons, banger raids. Like I think I'll probably always jump in to that experience because that is the content that I really enjoy. And if Crucible's in a healthy place, I can definitely see myself jumping in and playing Crucible here and there between other games. But I just think it's not going to be something that I grind for or like, oh, I need to get this role. I'm going to go spend 4 hours playing it. Like, I don't think it will be that anymore, but I think it will be a game that I continue to revisit because the content that they do make is good. I just don't think I have another 10 years of excitement to do similar things all the time.
For me, yeah, I mean, being a PvP player, I would just like to see them add more stuff to PvP for me to go after. You know, ornaments like we had in D1 for going flawless, adding artifice armor kind of stuff to PvP, just adding more things for me to pursue playing Crucible instead of just, oh, hey, there's like one gun that drops and you get that for however long. That would be me sticking around. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'll always play Destiny, but I don't interact with Destiny in an unhealthy way. So it's a little bit easier to kind of stick around when you're just jumping in, being like, what's the new raid? Okay, cool. That was awesome. What's the new dungeon? That was great. Oh, playing PvP. This is fun. Nice. Than just no lifing every part of the game all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Buko16 says, if you could only eat the last thing you ate for the rest of your life, what would it be? And would you be excited or dreadful of the future?
Could you only eat what for the rest of your life?
The last thing you ate. What's the last thing you ate?
I'd be good
no.
actually, because I ate it was a potato croquette with
that's not bad.
like shredded cabbage, rice, and miso soup.
Oh, that's not bad.
I literally had just
I
like
think I
a
could do
protein
that.
bowl. I would just be
Good
living
luck.
on protein balls.
Good luck.
Bro, I'm sad.
I had shrimp cocktail.
Oh,
Problem
shrimp
was,
cocktail?
Yeah.
like a prawn
At
cocktail.
home?
Yeah.
Who makes shrimp cocktails
We
at
used to
home?
make them for Christmas.
It's
Yeah,
not
for
that hard.
Christmas.
You get like a bag of
Not a
frozen
Booth
shrimp,
Day.
you put it in like kind of water and thaw it out, and then a little cocktail sauce and nice little snack.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing
You
wrong
do-
with
you
it.
do
I
all,
I feel like
you do the
shrimp
vegetables and
cocktails
stuff?
are.
No, just the shrimp in the cocktail sauce.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah, I would
a little
not.
less extravagant.
I don't
than-
think I would want that to be my only
full
meal for the rest of my
Every
life.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
bit rough.
My wife's out of town, so I was in charge of dinner with the kids tonight.
Was
And
it pizza or
not,
McDonald's?
it's not healthy. No, I did my breaded fried chicken, and then I just threw a bunch of fresh fruit out there. I was like, yeah, blueberries, strawberries. I cut up a
Nice.
pineapple, and they
That's
just
pretty
went
good.
hog wild on it. So it was
That's
just
pretty
fried
good.
chicken and fruit.
Fried chicken and fruit.
When my kids were young and my wife was like, look, I'd really like you to take care of dinner on Friday nights. I was like, yeah, no problem. I got this.
Easy.
It's pizza
Shrimp
night. Every
cocktails.
Friday night is pizza night. I would just order pizza every Friday night. And everybody's happy, right? And then my wife
Yeah.
gets wise to it and she starts ordering pizza on Thursday nights. I was like,
Uh-huh.
you have fucked me so hard here. What am I going to do?
That's funny.
Gareth Evans says, what is something you'd like to see for the final shape? Personally, I'd like to see an Avengers Endgame final battle style final mission in a grand raid. Yo, that would be sick. That sounds awesome.
Like getting all the NPCs with you and fighting alongside them.
Yeah.
Like a
would be
big ass
very cool.
battle.
You need to see them on the battlefield, right? Not just a
Yes.
cutscene. You need to see like Zavala popping. You need to see Ikora pop on a super, start slamming
Oh,
enemies.
that would
You
be
know,
sick.
That's what I want.
That would
You
be
to see Cage
so
6 joking
tough.
around, goofing off in the background,
Yeah.
shooting his golden gun.
Keitel
Yeah.
out there.
Just smacking fools.
Yeah, smacking
She's
fools
massive.
down.
A giant hammer,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. That would be sick. I'm way into that, Gareth. Auntie Krauser says, once y'all get your Monte Carlo caddy, what are you going to get your bayonet on? Oh, where?
Bubble
Where are you going
Titans.
to get your...
That's all. I'm gonna hunt down Bubble Titans. I'm gonna mark off chain.
You're
bayonet
a Titan
loaded.
now.
No,
Have you fulfilled your commitment yet or not?
I've played Titan. I made Titan. I played Titan.
Proud of you.
Once.
To be fair, her commitment was not strong to this right from the get-go. She's like,
I will play
will
the
play
Titan
a Titan.
more. I purchased
No
Kepri's
quantifying
horn.
that.
I purchased Kepri's horn from Zur so that I can do
That's a
the
fun-
Strand Kepri's horn thing.
That's a fun exotic.
So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Sometimes I only know it's Friday because I see Zer videos on YouTube. I'm like, oh, it's Friday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Blandy McBlanderson says, rate each of the following as yeah, nah, or nah, yeah. 1, poutine. Yeah, nah.
Nah, yeah. Remember, nah, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah's no.
Yeah, I got it.
Do you? Nah, yeah?
Tomato ice cream.
Tomato ice cream?
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah.
Oh, no, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I like tomatoes. I like tomato juice. It could be good.
Imagine a V8 flavored ice cream cone.
Hey, I don't
So
know. I've
salty.
never had it.
You've never had
Mm.
V8?
I haven't
Yeah,
had a
that fr-
tomato strawberry ice cream.
Okay.
I've
How about
not
a tomato flavored Slurpee? Go down to 7-Eleven, nice hot day, get yourself a tomato flavored Slurpee.
So friggin' weird.
Black pudding.
I've never actually had
I
black pudding.
don't know if I've had. I might have tried it once when I was a
I think
kid.
I'll say nah, yeah. I'll still try it and have it.
Am I crazy? What is black pudding? What is that?
Here, let's get
It's
it.
like
let's get a,
it's
What
cooked in the
that?
stomach, isn't it? It's like all the bits and pieces cooked in the stomach of a
It is a
sheep?
blood sausage made from pork or beef blood with pork fat or beef sweat, and a cereal, usually oatmeal, oat groats, or barley groats. And it's got ingredients generally used: mint, thyme, certain spices.
lips, assholes.
I mean, maybe I'll give it a shot, but I'm not like excited about it.
No.
I don't really care where something comes from. If it tastes good, it tastes good, you know? I'll push through
Yeah.
like the thought of it. But I don't think I've ever actually had it.
I think I have, and I didn't like it.
I'm sure it's a nah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Jellied eels.
Jelly what?
I've never had
Eels. Like the, like the snakes
Like the
in
sea
sea.
snake?
Yeah.
Well,
But jellied?
It's
Wait, what's
chopped
it?
eels boiled in a spiced stock that is allowed to cool and set, forming a jelly, and it's served cold.
no. Like
I'd try it.
No,
I'd try it. Yeah.
Is it Scandinavian? No, of course it's English.
no, it's British. Yeah,
Of course it is, because it's disgusting.
Eel. Like it's unagi's eel in Japan, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Unagi is eel. I like grilled eel. That's yummy. But jelly eel?
you boil it, you let it sit, turns into a jelly, and
Nah.
then you eat it cold.
Well, when you said it was British, then I was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you
Because
said Japanese,
This is
I'm
nothing
like-
against my
Not selling it.
British friends, but y'all's cuisine is not
You
the
got
thing
plenty
that
of
y'all are
very-
known for.
Quality attributes, but the cuisine is not tops.
Not one
among
of them, yeah.
This week in video game says, given Barbie and Oppenheimer make Barbenheimer, what new word do you get when you combine your favorite movie with the last movie you saw? Oh, Jesus Christ. What's the last
I don't know.
movie I
Oh
saw?
no, I guess I.
Not much of a film buff.
At the last movie I saw was The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay.
It was just on, and I was like, "I'll watch it. That's an easy watch."
What's
And
your
then
favorite movie?
I think Arrival.
The Devil Arrives in Prada.
Nice.
You put it together, you can make some cool names. You can make some cool stuff. Not as catchy as Barbenheimer.
Mine might be something like Saving Private Mario.
Oh, that's an interesting viewing.
That's
Hey.
pretty good.
The last movie I watched was Fellowship of the Ring, but my favorite movie, if I had to fall off the log, I'd say probably Hot Fuzz.
Really?
I love Hot Fuzz.
Fuzzy rings.
I've seen that movie like 30 times.
Hot Ring. That's a different guy.
I think mine would be Street Fighter of the Galaxy, Volume 2.
Okay. Fellowship of the Fuzz. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not bad.
that's good.
Fellowship of the Fuzz. I can get down with that.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not bad.
good.
Kane Shin Phoenix says, the one thing that caught my attention was that during Joe Blackburn's address to us, he said the map bundle would be free. I fear to suggest the map bundles would be another source of monetization for those wanting new content going forward. Thoughts? You cannot charge for map bundles because it splits the community. It splits the player base into two matchmaking groups, one that has the maps and one that doesn't. And your matchmaking like pool is already kind of too small as it is, but if you split them again, then it just makes it smaller. And then you got to look at all the different like playlists that you have to have in each of those, right? So like
Yeah.
if you want to go to the control playlist, there's really two playlists there. There's people with and people without. So it's Call of Duty used to run into this all the time. I don't know if they fixed it or not, but I mean, even Destiny used to run into this, right? It's like, weren't Destiny maps part of like
They're part of
the
big
DLC?
expansions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, in D1, yeah, they had a separate node at the launch of a new DLC, didn't they?
Yeah, I think
That
so.
included the
think
new
so.
maps.
I think the only way you can do it is match make people all together, and then when one of the new maps comes out, you have to, when it comes up, you have to split them.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
kick
But
the others out of the lobby.
You just kick them out, and you
yeah.
like grab some extras. There you go. Start the match.
Fun,
But-
dirty secret about Call
Yeah.
of Duty content creators back in the day is they wouldn't get the map packs.
It's
Because
true.
the hardcore players would all get the map pack and be playing those, but all the noobs would still
Yep.
be on the old maps, and they'd get these awesome
Got my
videos
nuke,
with their like
baby.
60 kill streaks. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Did do it. Can confirm.
What? You did it?
Yeah. I remember, I think I installed the maps and then I like uninstalled everything and reinstalled to not have the maps because it got so
You can have
sweaty. I
easy
was like,
lobbies.
I can't make content in these lobbies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially
Like-
not when your content is like using the worst stuff.
Right. If you use
Yeah.
niche
Yeah.
stuff, 100%.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Look, I don't know. I hope it's successful, and I hope they work out a way to fund it. And I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know if it's. I really don't feel like they can price hike the seasons again, unless they do something like they say we're going to have less seasons and they increase the content in their season and they bump the price up. Then I can see that way of justifying, like, hey, less seasons, it's going to cost more, you're going to get more content, and you're going to get a map pack once a year or whatever, and it'd be bundled in a season, mate. Oh, but then you still got people who don't pay seasons, so you can't do that.
You just have to assume that this is a good investment. They think this is going to be a good investment because having a map pack is going to keep PvP players engaged, which is going to then translate to sales elsewhere in the game. If they're playing Destiny PvP consistently because the content's good, they're probably going to be buying the seasons for the guns that come,
Exactly.
you know, the whole suite of weapons that comes with the new season and the DLCs, and then the Eververse. You know, when they release a new Stompies ornament, they're going to buy it, you know.
That's how you make the money. You just release ornaments for like traversive steps. Here's some
Antaeus
Stompies.
wards.
Here's an Antaeus ward. 4 ornaments. Go crazy, Titans. Give us all the money. That's how you do it. But yeah, I think generally like a lot of PvP players interact with the PvE side because the whole fun of it is getting the new exotics and the new
Yeah.
weapons.
And then bring it back.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam says, "What is your favorite junk or takeout food to have for a gaming session, and the best drink to have with it?"
Egg rolls.
Mm. Easy to eat.
Egg rolls and like crab rangoon. Those are great gaming snacks for me.
I've been not really like junk food. I guess it is junk food when you eat a whole packet by yourself, but there's like these wasabi peas that are
yes, those are good.
not like the actual pea bit, but like it's like a pod almost, and it's like air fried, and it's like
Oh,
wasabi.
sure.
It's almost like a chip, but it's like a
Yeah.
wasabi pea. Yeah, they're delicioso.
So really like some kind of trail mix is usually pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big
Yeah.
fan too. Trail mix or jerky I like as well.
Ooh. Those pretzels, they're like pretzel nuggets. They have peanut butter in the inside. Have you had those?
Oh yeah, those are good.
Oh
Mm.
gosh, dude.
Mm.
Those are dangerous.
I
Mm.
really don't like to eat while I game. Like I'll stop gaming, have a meal, and then come back to it. So I don't
I don't
actually
like I
to
don't like
eat
having a
while I'm-
meal.
Why?
I don't know.
You
It's
don't like it?
I get shit on my fingers that I don't want to get on my controller, like my hands,
Let me introduce you to chopsticks.
or a fork, I guess.
So I get the wasabi peas, I put them in a bowl, I get some chopsticks,
Yeah.
and then hands are clean.
But I just don't like I'm doing something
Oh,
when
should
I'm
do that motion
gaming.
again for me.
I'm doing something while I'm gaming. Like I don't have a problem eating while I'm watching TV, but like while I'm gaming, like I'm actively doing something. I don't want to like put down the controller to pick up.
Yeah.
pick
Then
up
again,
food.
some games suit it though. You know, if you just like Baldur's Gate, just go through some heavy dialogue, just like heat up your lunch.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, just have to left click. Yeah.
Last question of the night. Hugo Rune 79 says, pretend you're a tour guide for a museum of your own life. What are the top 3 exhibitors visitors must see, and what item is the best seller in the gift shop?
Golly.
Man,
Jesus Christ.
I'm not that exciting
top
of a person.
3 exhibits.
Looking back at your life at what are the most
Oof.
pivotal, exciting things that people would have to go
People
look at in a
wanna go
museum.
see.
I would
Oh,
I would
okay.
say one would probably be getting the PhD with a DOF.
Yeah.
One would be a cage fight, my first MMA cage fight.
Oh, I would want to see that. Yeah.
One would be having my first post go viral on YouTube and getting excited about it, going, it's gonna work
Uh-huh. That's right.
after a year of failing.
Mine would
Oh,
be
man.
that time that I was wearing Crocs on a wet floor and I started to slip and then my pants fell down around my ankles and I fell on my face.
Love that.
One
Oh
would
yeah, I've got
be
my child Leo. He's
when I
alright.
was a senior in high school, we did a like a talent show and I dressed as a lady and juggled.
Well, fun.
And I don't know, the third one still to come.
I can come up with 2, I guess. One would be the summer I did a cross country tour through the United States, big circuit through the states
Nice.
on motorcycle. That was fun. Love that. Did like plotted out campsites along the way. That was a blast. The other would be, I guess, like I did like a travel phase where for 4 years in a row I would spend every summer in a different country. So I did
That's awesome.
I did Australia. I did stay in Brisbane and then kind of use that as my central hub for one summer. I did Hong Kong. I did Zambia in Africa. That was a lot of fun. So that was I guess those are the 2 that come to mind for me.
If you're still doing that, do you think you'd want to like be a content creator around that kind of, or would you rather just keep that to yourself?
Like a travel influencer?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be so difficult. Well, because you'd have to have all the gear to edit and all that stuff on the go, and that's
Also,
like
so much
a
of your
pain.
experience would be like filming it as opposed to just experiencing
I
it.
don't like filming myself in a public space like that. Like I think you have to be wired for it. Like talking into a
Yeah.
camera in the middle of a crowd of people. Like I
Yeah.
feel so
Yeah.
vain, you know?
Yeah.
Chat's having a go because we didn't mention our families or children. And listen up, right?
Who wants to see that?
Yeah, you want to see the first time I met Danny? It was a very dark room. Okay, it's not safe for work. Okay, so yeah, that can't be in there. And then
You know how every time somebody has a newborn and they're like bringing it around and they're showing everybody and like nobody
cares.
gives a fuck.
No one cares. And
Yes,
Leo's birth.
I've got one of
ended up
those
in a-
too, asshole.
I don't want to relive the birth, let alone.
Oh, I know,
someone else.
dude. Well, yeah, because our first was an emergency C-section. Like, cord was wrapped around his neck. It was like terrifying.
Jesus.
They're like, "We gotta go now." And they're like, "You can't come in yet." And I'm like, not even with my
That's
wife.
not a happy time. That's a
And then
very
when they're
stressful
finally like, "You can come in," I walk into the room. I'm like, "You're putting that blood back in her, right?" Like I'm not trying to relive that.
Yeah. And Leo was born during COVID. We had like all these COVID restrictions,
yeah.
Oh god.
and we had to like Danny had to have a cesarean in the end, and then he went into ICU, and then there was like all these restrictions on how like we couldn't be in the same room with Leo when he was born. We had to swap out. We had to only have one person with him at a
Yeah.
time
That's
because of
wild.
COVID restrictions. Like it was fucked. I don't want to relive it.
No.
But I will say, first time he laughed, that was pretty fucking cute. First time he laughed, smiled, and that was pretty cute. But once again, no one cares about your kids. Apart from me.
I just learned. I guess there's like people in Japan that are called the Forgotten Ones. That they're like kids that they're grown though. They're like grown kids that live in like the parents' like basement and stuff and never come out. And like the parents like kind of don't ever like acknowledge them in public. Like so they're just like kind of forgotten by everybody. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How scary is that?
For me, probably when I did competitive gymnastics when I was a kid, so that would probably be in there because that was a big part of my childhood. Going to competitions and flying all over the place to go to those. And then probably maybe like the Titanfall launch party where I think that was the first ever stream I ever did. I didn't even have a Twitch channel. Like Twitch wasn't that big then, but they were like, we want you guys to stream the launch party, like streaming you guys playing Titanfall. So that was why I made a Twitch channel initially. And then I didn't stream for a long time because I had so many audio issues. I was like, I don't know how to fix them. I'm not doing it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. Besides that,
Thank God that's over, right?
well, now I
Never
know
happened.
a lot more about all that stuff, but yeah, God, audio issues are the worst. The third one is kind of hard to pick. I don't know what was like a pivotal, here's a thing you have to see that represents who I am and what I'm doing. Maybe when I came to Seattle to play Destiny 1 for the first time when they did like their capture event, because that's where I met Tomo. That's where I played Destiny 1 for the first time. It's where I met like Deej and all those people for the first time, which started obviously like a long relationship with everybody. So
Yeah,
probably
no
pretty good.
doubt.
Nice.
That's gonna wrap it up. Thank you all for listening.
That's it.
Let's go. Solved all the
Not
problems.
Yeah, once again,
Ooh,
nailed it.
next week.
Yeah, next week's the
Next
exciting one,
week.
right?
Oh, yeah. Have a good season launch,
Ooh.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't get stuck in queues forever.
They've been better
That'd be
about
nice.
that lately, haven't they?
They've been pretty good with like season launches and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been pretty good with that.
All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
We'll see you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.